Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a gentle place for minds seeking peace before drifting into rest. If you are lying in the quiet darkness of the night, still hearing your thoughts softly moving in your mind, then you have come to the right place. Here, there is no rush, no noise, only slow and soothing stories that help the mind gradually unwind and the body gently relax. In tonight's video, we will explore together one of the most mysterious and captivating wonders of the universe, the most fascinating facts about black holes that help you sleep. Not in a complicated or intense way, but like a gentle journey through vast space, where each small piece of knowledge brings a sense of wonder and stillness. Let your imagination drift among distant stars, deep, dark regions, and feel the calm slowly spreading within. If you enjoy relaxing, sleep-inducing stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Stories for Sleep so we can accompany you each night. And now take a slow, deep breath, relax your body, and let us begin the journey into black holes. Have you ever lain in the still darkness of late night, feeling your mind still moving, thoughts still unwilling to rest, even though your body is already tired? There are moments when the more we try to sleep, the further the mind drifts, as if searching for something deep that we cannot quite name. In those moments, we often turn inward toward a place filled with mysteries, questions, and shadows not yet explored. And perhaps no image in the universe reflects that depth more clearly than a black hole. A black hole is not only a strange astronomical phenomenon, it is a place where light disappears, where space and time bend, and where familiar rules seem to become fragile. But when seen through the lens of the human mind, a black hole becomes a profound symbol of the inner world, a quiet, powerful darkness, where memories, emotions, and thoughts may be drawn inward and not easily return. In this video, we will take a slow, gentle journey together, discovering the most fascinating truths about black holes. Not through the tension of dry science, but through a soft curiosity, like listening to a bedtime story. You will gradually understand how black holes are formed, how they affect light, the stars around them, and even the evolution of entire galaxies. But more than that, each small truth about the universe can become a bridge leading you back to yourself, to the deepest and quietest place within. Let this voice become a slow current, carrying you away from the noise of the day. As you listen, allow your mind to drift among images of vast space, distant stars, and mysterious dark regions quietly existing beyond us. There is no pressure there, no hurry, only gentle curiosity and the feeling of opening to something larger. And as the story begins, you may realize that sometimes looking into the darkness of the universe helps the human mind find the peace it needs to slowly fall asleep. Part 1. Introduction: Black Holes, where space and time transform. In humanity's journey to explore the universe, we have encountered many great ideas, yet perhaps none is as strange, as deep, and as symbolically powerful as the black hole. When we close our eyes and imagine a place where even light cannot escape, where time seems to slow, where space bends and stretches, we are not only thinking about a physical phenomenon, we are perhaps unknowingly touching a reflection of our own minds. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, what exists in the vast universe often parallels what exists within the human soul. And so a black hole is not only a dark region among the stars, but also a quiet symbol of inner depth of the unconscious layers we have never fully understood. From the earliest days when the idea of black holes first appeared in science, they were considered one of the most extreme concepts the human mind had ever imagined. An invisible object, emitting no light, impossible to see directly, yet powerful enough to bend space and time. It sounded more like a myth than reality. And yet those seemingly impossible ideas truly exist in the universe. A black hole is not an empty space. It is a place where mass is concentrated to the extreme. It pulls everything closer, holding all things within its gravitational field. much like how memories, emotions, and deep experiences within the inner life can quietly but powerfully hold the mind. In sleep, when humans slowly release conscious control, we begin to drift into another region, a place without clear shape or form, yet filled with many things. Jung called it the unconscious, a vast inner world within every person, where images, memories, and ancient archetypes exist together. And strangely, when we think about a black hole, we are also thinking about a region we cannot see, a place where things disappear from view but do not truly vanish. They simply move into another state, into a deeper layer beyond direct observation. A black hole is not merely a silent object in space. It influences light, the movement of stars, and even the evolution of entire galaxies. Stars far away still orbit around it, as if guided by an invisible force. Streams of gas and dust spiral inward, glowing before disappearing. And in some way, this resembles how the human mind works. There are thoughts and emotions we do not clearly see, yet they quietly shape how we act, how we feel, and how we perceive the world. Jung once said that a person cannot become whole without facing the deepest parts of themselves. The parts often avoided the shadows we do not wish to see. Yet it is within that darkness that truth, growth, and even peace can be found. A black hole, in symbolic meaning, can be seen as an image of that shadow, not frightening, not dangerous, but simply deep and not yet understood. When we lie down and prepare for sleep, the mind begins to slow. The sounds of the world drift away, the worries of the day soften, and in that state, we become more open to reflective stories. A story about black holes, then, is not only a lesson in science, but a gentle journey into the depth of existence. We do not need to understand every equation or imagine every physical structure precisely. What matters is the feeling of vastness, stillness, and mystery. A black hole is a place where space and time transform. This may sound distant, but if we slow down, we can see that in the inner world, space and time also change with emotion. A moment of sadness can feel long and endless, while a warm memory can make time disappear. When we sink into deep thought, the world around us fades like light bending around a black hole. And in such moments, we step into another space, not with the body, but with the mind. This introduction is not meant to overwhelm the listener, but to bring them into stillness. Because before exploring anything deep, a person needs to relax, to feel safe, to be gently guided. As the voice slowly carries the listener through images of the universe, through distant stars and deep darkness, the mind gradually leaves behind the tensions of the day. And in that quiet, they become ready to listen not only with their ears, but with their feelings. There is something very special about black holes. Though we cannot see them directly, we know they exist through what they influence. Stars orbit around them, light bends, space stretches. And in the same way, there are parts of our minds we cannot clearly see, yet we feel their presence through the way we react to life. An invisible fear, an old memory, a familiar feeling without a clear origin. All of these are like the pull of a black hole, quiet, powerful, undeniable. As this journey begins, the listener does not need to prepare anything. Just lie down, relax, and allow the mind to drift with the story. There is no pressure to understand, no need to remember. Only a gentle curiosity, like when we look up at the night sky and wonder what exists out there. And sometimes that soft curiosity helps the mind slow, release repetitive thoughts, and gradually fall into sleep. In some way, black holes remind us that the universe is far larger than what we can see, and so is the human mind. There are depths we have never explored. There are dark regions we have never entered. But instead of fear, we can approach them with calm and gentleness. Because sometimes facing depth brings peace, just like when we close our eyes and allow ourselves to fall asleep. So this introduction is not only a presentation of a scientific phenomenon, it is a doorway into the universe and into the human mind. As the listener steps through, they begin a slow journey where each idea is spoken softly, where each image is shaped by imagination. and where curiosity does not create tension, but relaxation. In a place where space and time transform, a person may feel small yet also connected to something vast. And that feeling, being in a wide universe, listening to a deep story, relaxing, completely gently, carries the mind away from the noise of reality and closer to sleep. And as we continue thinking about black holes in the stillness of night, we may realize that what makes them so captivating is not only their immense power or scientific mystery, but the feeling of endless depth, a place without a visible end, unreachable yet undeniably present. That feeling is very much like the deep layers of the soul, where old memories, unnamed emotions, and unexplored parts of ourselves remain. In Jung's view, darkness is not something to avoid. Sometimes it is in darkness that we find true rest. Just as when we close our eyes, the outer world disappears and another space opens within. A quieter, deeper, gentler space. A black hole in the silence of the universe seems to carry that same stillness. Not loud, not visibly moving, yet always present quietly, holding everything within an invisible order. As the listener begins to relax and let the mind drift with this story, the image of a black hole no longer feels distant or frightening. It becomes a symbol of deep rest, of letting go of what feels heavy, as if every thought slowly spirals inward, settling, dissolving into a soft darkness, where there is no pressure, no noise, only peace. And in that peace, sleep begins to come closer like a gentle breeze, not rushed, not forced, only arriving when the mind is ready. Just as the universe moves in silence, as stars move through endless space, the human mind also knows how to find rest when guided by slow and thoughtful stories. That is why the journey of exploring black holes is not only a journey of knowledge, but a journey of emotion. As we listen, we are not only learning about the universe, but slowly moving inward toward the quietest place, the most peaceful place where sleep can gently arrive. Part 2. The formation of a black hole. When we listen to the story of how a black hole is formed, we are listening to the story of an ending, and at the same time, a new beginning. In the vast universe, a black hole does not appear suddenly or without reason. It is born from the death of a very large star, a star that has shone for millions, even billions of years, once radiating light, warmth, and energy into endless space. But eventually its fuel begins to run out. Its light grows weaker. The fragile balance between the outward force of energy and the inward pull of gravity begins to falter. And in the end, the star collapses under its own gravity. This is not a collapse in the loud way we might imagine. It is a powerful but quiet process where everything slowly draws inward, compressing tightly. The core of the star is squeezed beyond comprehension. Everything is pulled into a single point, becoming so dense that even light cannot escape. And in that moment, a black hole is born. From a scientific view, this is an extreme physical phenomenon. But from a reflective perspective, like the way Jung often saw the world, it can also resemble something very familiar in human inner life. There are times in life when we pass through periods like a star slowly losing its energy. Pressures, losses, changes make us feel as if we are folding inward. Unspoken emotions, unresolved thoughts begin to gather, compressing within the mind. And sometimes it feels as if we are collapsing under the weight of those things. But Jung believed that within every inner collapse lies the possibility of transformation. Just as a star does not truly disappear when it dies, it becomes something else, a new form of existence. A black hole is not emptiness. It is the result of compression to the extreme, where the entire mass of a star is concentrated into an incredibly small region. There is a quiet beauty in this. It reminds us that what seems lost does not truly vanish. It simply changes into another state, deeper, more condensed. In the human mind, old memories and past emotions do not truly leave us. They remain somewhere in the unconscious, compressed into the deeper layers of who we are. We may not always see them, but they are still there, quietly shaping how we feel and think. When the core of a star is compressed to such extreme density, it bends the space and time around it. This idea is both wondrous and difficult to imagine. Space and time, things that seem unchanging, can be distorted by gravity so powerful. Light passing nearby must curve. Time itself slows near a black hole compared to elsewhere. Everything becomes different simply because mass is gathered so intensely. If we listen with feeling, we may sense a similar image in our inner lives. There are experiences that carry great weight, a deep sadness, an unforgettable memory, a powerful love once felt. These things are like a kind of mass within the mind. They change how we see the world, how we see ourselves, even how we experience time. Some days feel endless because the mind is heavy, and some moments pass quickly when warmth fills the heart. In this way, a black hole is not only a dark region in space, it is a symbol of depth, of condensation, of things no longer on the surface. Jung said that the deepest parts of the mind are not always what we clearly see, but what lies beneath in the unconscious. And those deep regions often hold the greatest influence. What matters is that a black hole is not empty space, as many might think. It is not simply a hole. It is a region where mass is concentrated to an extreme. Everything is still there, just compressed so tightly that we no longer recognize its original form. Light cannot escape, so it appears as darkness, but inside it is not empty. This image carries deep meaning when we think about people. Some individuals may appear very quiet, reserved, and calm on the outside, but that does not mean they are empty within. Often, the quietest people carry the most thoughts, memories, and emotions. Everything is held inside, compressed, becoming a deep part of who they are. As the body begins to relax before sleep, the mind also settles. The thoughts of the day grow faint. And as we listen to the story of a star collapsing into a black hole, we may feel a strange peace, because this is not a story about disappearance. It is a story about transformation. Something once bright, powerful, full of energy becomes another form, deeper, quieter. Perhaps in each life there are moments like that. Times when we no longer shine as brightly, no longer have the same energy. But that does not mean we are losing value. Perhaps we are simply moving into a deeper part of ourselves, a place that is calmer, slower, but also wiser. And in that stillness, like a black hole quietly existing in space, the human mind learns to hold on to what matters, experiences, memories, emotions. Nothing truly disappears. It becomes part of inner depth. As you listen to this story before sleep, you do not need to understand every scientific detail. Just imagine a great star, after a long journey, slowly shrinking, becoming smaller, denser, and finally turning into a quiet, dark region in space. There is a softness in that image, a feeling of everything slowing, settling, becoming calm. And perhaps that is exactly what the mind needs at the end of the day, a sense of drawing inward, resting, moving into a deeper and quieter space. Not to disappear, but to restore. Not to lose, but to become more whole. Just as a black hole is born from the ending of a star, sleep comes from letting go of a long day. When we allow thoughts to slowly gather inward, worries to settle, the mind gently moves into a quiet space. A space without the bright light of busyness, without the noise of unfinished things, only deep and gentle stillness. And in that stillness we drift into sleep, as if stepping into another region, deep, dark, and peaceful. And if we continue to imagine the moment when a great star slowly collapses, we may feel a very slow, deep movement, as if the entire universe around it is quieting as well. No sound to hear, no light strong enough to burst forth. Only compression withdrawal and a process unfolding in absolute silence. There is a strange beauty in that silence. It is not emptiness, but fullness beyond what the eyes can see. Just like when people keep their deepest feelings within. From the outside, everything may look ordinary, but inside an entire world exists dense with memories, emotions, and untold stories. Jung believed that the deepest parts of the soul do not always need to be brought into the light. Sometimes simply allowing them to rest quietly within helps a person become more whole. A black hole is the same. It does not need to shine to exist. It exists through its presence, through the quiet influence it has on the space around it. And as we listen to the story of a black hole forming in the still night, the mind may begin to feel lighter, because the story reminds us that everything has its cycle. Brightness has a beginning and an ending. Energy rises and settles, and that settling is not something to fear. It is simply a natural transition, just like the body slowly entering rest each night. As thoughts begin to slow, as breathing becomes steady, you can imagine yourself drifting gently through a quiet region of space. There is no pressure there, no noise, only a deep and warm feeling as if you are being held within a soft darkness. And within that darkness, sleep comes closer very slowly, very gently, almost without noticing the moment it begins. Part 3. The event horizon, the boundary of no return. There is a special moment in the story of black holes that scientists call by a very evocative name, the event horizon. The name itself sounds like a faint boundary, a place where something begins to change forever. But the event horizon is not a wall, not a visible doorway, and not something you can reach out and touch. It is simply an invisible boundary in space where all paths lead inward, and once crossed, nothing can return. When we listen to this idea in the stillness of the night, it carries a feeling that is both strange and deeply reflective, because the event horizon is not only a physical phenomenon. In a very gentle way, it resembles a symbol of the inner boundaries in human life, those moments that once crossed leave us no longer the same as before. In the universe, when something moves close to a black hole, it does not crash into a surface. There is no sound, no collision. It simply reaches a point beyond which every path leads toward the center. Light cannot escape. Information cannot return. Everything is held within a depth we cannot see. If we listen with the heart, this idea holds a quiet beauty. In every human life there are boundaries like this, moments we cross without even realizing. A major decision, a farewell, a day when after an unexpected event we suddenly become a little more grown. These things do not appear loudly like a door opening in front of us, but once we pass through them, we know we cannot return to who we were yesterday. Carl Jung once said that true growth does not come from avoiding the deepest parts of ourselves, but from daring to cross the inner boundaries within. And sometimes those boundaries are very much like the event horizon, unseen, difficult to name, yet once crossed we begin to enter another region of consciousness. One of the most remarkable things about the event horizon is this. From the outside, everything seems to slow down. When an object falls toward a black hole to a distant observer, it does not disappear immediately. It appears to slow, then fade, as if time is stretching endlessly. The light from it weakens its image, becomes dimmer, until it seems to hover right at that boundary. It is a very gentle image to think about before sleep. An object not rushing in panic, not suddenly vanishing into darkness, but slowly becoming softer, lighter, fading away as if dissolving into the stillness of the universe. Perhaps in the human mind there are moments like that too. Old memories do not disappear at once. They simply slow drift farther away and gradually fade over time. Emotions that were once intense, that once made the heart tremble, also become lighter. Not because they no longer matter, but because they have crossed the boundary of the present and moved into a deeper place within memory. Jung called this the journey into the unconscious, a journey we do not notice ourselves entering. There is no sound, no clear signal, only a slow, deep transformation unfolding over time. The event horizon, then, is not something frightening. It is a place of transition. A point where everything begins to move into depth, not to be lost, but to become part of something larger. When light cannot escape a black hole, it does not mean the light has vanished. It simply cannot return to the outer world. This image carries a deep meaning when we think about the human mind. There are experiences that once lived mean we can never again be the person who had not lived them. They become part of us, settling into the depths, quietly shaping the way we see life. But what is special is that from the outside, this process unfolds very slowly, as if the universe is giving everything time to settle. And perhaps that is what the human mind needs each night. Not sudden change, not instant release, but a slow process where each thought fades, each worry drifts away, each sound grows quiet. As you lie listening to this story, try to imagine an object moving toward the event horizon. No hurry, no fear. It simply slows, slower, lighter, fading with time, and then it dissolves into a deep darkness where there is no sound, no bright light, only complete stillness. This image is very much like the moment we fall asleep. At first, the mind is still full of thoughts, then they slow. The images in the mind become softer. Sounds in the room seem farther away. The body grows heavy, warm, and then there is a very gentle boundary. We do not notice a moment from which we have already entered sleep. We do not remember exactly when we crossed it, just as no one can point to the exact place where the event horizon begins. It is not a sharp point, it is a soft transition. From Jung's perspective, such invisible boundaries exist everywhere in the inner life. The boundary between consciousness and the unconscious, between day and night, between thought and dream. And each time we cross one, we move deeper into ourselves. Perhaps that is why the story of the event horizon brings such peace. It is not a sudden ending. It is a gentle drifting, a slow sinking, a journey that does not need to hurry. From afar, everything seems to fade over time, and that is what is happening now as you listen. The thoughts of the day begin to fall back. Worries drift farther away. Everything slows a little, then a little more. Like an object approaching the event horizon, your mind is also moving into a deeper and quieter place. Nothing is forced. Nothing needs effort. Only a gentle drifting, a gradual letting go, and a sense of peace arriving slowly. And somewhere within that slowing, within the soft darkness of the mind, sleep is waiting. Gently, patiently, very close. As we continue reflecting on the event horizon in the stillness of night, we may feel that it is not only a boundary in the universe, but a gentle symbol of the quiet movements within the soul. Some changes in life do not arrive with loud sounds. They come slowly, softly, so gently that we do not notice the moment we cross them. But one day looking back, we realize we are in a different place. We have become someone new. The event horizon is like that. No flash of light to announce it. No sound to mark its presence. Only a smooth, deep transition, as if everything is being gently drawn into a quieter space. And from afar, the process seems endless. The object does not vanish immediately. It slows, fades, dissolves into darkness in the gentlest way. This image is very much like the moment before sleep. The last thoughts of the day do not disappear all at once. They simply become lighter, farther, dimmer. Sounds in memory soften. The body begins to relax, and the mind, like an object nearing an invisible boundary, slowly crosses over without noticing. Jung once said that when a person enters a dream, they are passing through a subtle doorway between the conscious and the unconscious. No one knows exactly when it happens. We only know that we are already on the other side. And perhaps the feeling of crossing the event horizon of the universe carries that same quiet softness. As you continue listening, let your thoughts slow, like an object drifting through deep space. There is no need to hold on to them. No need to chase them. Just let them fade with time, soften with each breath. And in that fading, your mind will naturally find its way into rest, gently stepping across an invisible boundary into deep sleep. Part 4. How we discover black holes. There is something very fascinating. When people speak about black holes, we cannot see them directly, yet we still know they exist. In the silence of the universe, where light is held back and all traces seem to disappear, humanity has learned to recognize the presence of something invisible. And this carries a deep meaning not only in science, but in the journey of exploring the human mind. Black holes do not emit light, have no clear shape, and cannot be observed with the naked eye like the shining stars in the night sky. And yet scientists can still find them by watching the movement of the stars around them. When a star circles a point in space where nothing appears to be there, yet an immense force holds it in orbit, we understand that an invisible mass is present, something that cannot be seen but strong enough to guide everything around it. Seen through the eyes of Carl Jung, this image is much like how we come to know the hidden parts of our own minds. We cannot directly see deep emotions, distant memories, or unnamed fears, but we can sense their presence through the way they influence our actions, thoughts, and feelings each day. Like stars circling an invisible mass, our lives sometimes move around things we are not fully aware of. There are times when we react strongly to something very small, times when a sudden memory appears and gently lowers the heart, feelings that seem familiar without knowing why. All of these are like stars in motion, revealing the presence of an invisible mass within the mind, a part of the unconscious quietly shaping us. Jung believed that the unconscious is not emptiness. It is a living, deep place, filled with past experiences, unspoken emotions, and parts of ourselves not yet explored. And just as scientists discover black holes by observing what happens around them, we can understand ourselves by listening to the small movements within the soul. Besides stars in orbit, there is another sign that helps us discover black holes: streams of hot gas swirling around them. When matter is drawn inward, it does not fall straight in immediately. It spins circles, heats up, and releases powerful X-rays and bright light before disappearing inside. That light does not come from the black hole itself, but from what exists very close to it. This is a beautiful image when felt with the heart. A deep, dark region, yet around it shines intense motion. And this is also like the inner life of a person. There are parts that are very deep, very quiet, very difficult to reach, but around them emotions can become strong. Dreams, sudden thoughts, deep feelings, all like streams of gas swirling around an unseen center. Perhaps those emotional moments help us realize what lives within: an unnamed longing, an old sadness that remains, a memory still quietly radiating influence. Even if we cannot clearly see their source, we can feel the light they create in our emotional life. Just as scientists observe the light from heated matter to discover black holes, people sometimes understand themselves through powerful emotions that appear unexpectedly. These are not random, they are signs of depth. Another way we discover black holes is through the bending of light. When light passes near a black hole, it no longer travels in a straight line. It curves under the immense pull of gravity. The images of stars behind it may appear stretched, shifted, or distorted. And from these distortions, we know something is there. The bending of light holds a deep meaning when we think about the mind. Some experiences in life are strong enough to change the way we see the world. A loss, a love, a memory. These things become a kind of gravity within the soul. And from that moment on, the way we see everything can change. Someone may become quieter after a great loss. Someone may become more open after a deep joy. Someone may carry an old memory that makes them see life more gently. These changes are like light being bent, no longer traveling the same path as before. But what matters is this: through that very distortion, we begin to understand what exists within. Jung said that a person cannot know themselves by only looking at the surface. We must observe reactions, emotions, dreams, and the small shifts in how we experience life. And through that, we begin to see the deeper parts we once could not. When we listen to how humanity discovers black holes, we are not only hearing about science, we are hearing about a journey very much like the journey of understanding ourselves. A journey not based on seeing directly, but on noticing small signs, gentle movements, subtle changes. In the quiet of the night, as the body relaxes and the mind slows, we may begin to notice those inner movements as well. A thought that comes and goes, a feeling that passes by, a memory that briefly appears, all like small stars moving around an unseen depth. And just as scientists patiently watched the sky for many years to understand black holes, we too can patiently listen to ourselves. There is no need to hurry. No need to understand everything at once, only to observe gently, slowly. As you listen to this story before sleep, the images of stars circling an invisible point, streams of glowing gas, spiraling into darkness, and light bending through space slowly become soft and soothing. They no longer feel distant or difficult. They become part of a slow story that helps the mind relax. And as the mind relaxes, you may begin to feel as if you are gently drifting through your own space. The thoughts of the day begin to settle. Emotions soften. Everything slows a little, then slower still. Just as humanity recognizes a black hole through subtle signs, you can sense sleep approaching through gentle changes in your body. Breathing becomes steady. Shoulders soften. The mind no longer clings to any single thought. And then, just as light fades when nearing a deep region of the universe, thoughts also begin to fade, soften, dissolve into stillness. Nothing truly disappears. Everything simply moves into a deeper, quieter place where sleep is waiting gently. As we continue reflecting on how black holes are discovered, we may realize it is not only a story of telescopes and complex measurements, it is also a story of patience. Because to recognize something invisible, we must learn to observe for a long time, very slowly, very quietly. And in that stillness, the smallest signs become clear. A star moves slightly out of place. A region of light bends just a little. A strong energy source appears where space once seemed empty. All very subtle. Yet from those subtle signs, a great mystery is revealed. This is much like the journey of understanding oneself. No one can look directly into the soul and see everything inside. But we can recognize through small changes a passing feeling, a sudden memory, a quiet thought. Like stars moving around an invisible mass, small reactions in life orbit around depths we have not yet reached. And when night comes, when the body begins to rest, it becomes easier to feel those subtle movements. No noise from the day, no constant activity, only quiet, like a vast night sky. In that quiet, you can imagine stars slowly circling a deep, dark center light, gently bending everything, moving in a slow, steady rhythm. This image brings a strange sense of comfort. Even though we cannot see a black hole, we know it is there. Even if we do not fully understand our minds, we know there is a depth within. And sometimes simply knowing that depth exists is enough to help the mind relax. As the last thoughts of the day drift away, you can imagine yourself floating through space, very light, very slow. Stars around you move in silence. Light fades. Everything becomes softer. And in that softness, the mind begins to let go as if drifting into a deeper place of rest. There is no need to understand every mystery of the universe. No need to find every answer within the soul. Sometimes it is enough to listen, to observe, and to let everything move slowly. And in that slowness, sleep arrives naturally, gently, like a soft wave carrying you away from the noise of the day. Part 5. The black hole at the center of the galaxy in place. The endless stillness of the universe, where billions of stars quietly move along their own paths. There is a truth, both profound and wondrous, at the very center of the Milky Way, the galaxy we live in. There exists a supermassive black hole. It does not shine. It does not create bright images like the stars. And it cannot be seen directly with the naked eye. Yet it is there, silent, enduring, holding a power strong enough to keep billions of stars moving in order. Scientists believe this black hole holds a mass millions of times greater than our Sunday. It is a number almost beyond imagination. If we try to picture it, we see a small region of space containing an immense amount of matter, enough to create a pull that guides everything around it into orbit. The stars do not fall straight into it. They circle quietly and steadily, as if following an invisible rhythm. In the stillness of night, as you lie listening, you may sense something very familiar in this image. Because the idea of an unseen center quietly holding everything in order does not exist only in the universe. It also exists within the human mind. Carl Jung once said that inside every person there is a center, a deep point where experiences, memories, instincts, and meaning gather. He saw it as the core of the self, where a person slowly becomes who they are over time. We cannot see it like a physical object, but like the black hole at the center of the galaxy, we can feel its presence through the way it influences every thought, every emotion, every choice. In the universe, the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way is not a destroyer as many might imagine. Instead, it helps keep the structure of the galaxy stable. Distant stars continue to move around it in a quiet order. Each star has its own path, yet all are connected by a shared pull, a center they cannot see but that always exists. This holds a gentle beauty when we think about inner life. Each person is like a small galaxy filled with countless thoughts, emotions, memories, and experiences moving within. Sometimes the mind feels tangled. Sometimes emotions overlap. Sometimes we do not understand why we feel the way we do. Yet somewhere, there is still a center quietly holding everything together. It may be the values we believe in, the memories that shaped us from childhood, a part of ourselves we have never clearly seen, yet always felt. And like the black hole at the center of the galaxy, this center does not need to shine to exist. It is present through its weight, through the way it influences everything around it. When we look up at the night sky, it is hard to realize that all the stars we see are moving around a deep point we cannot reach with our eyes. But scientists know this through the way the stars move. They do not drift aimlessly. They follow paths, rhythms, a quiet order. The human mind is much the same. Even when we feel confused, something within still holds us. Something shapes our path. There are things we cannot name, yet they influence how we live, how we love, how we search for meaning. Jung believed that the journey of every person is a journey toward the center of the self. Not a place we can see, but a place we can feel. A place that holds the deepest essence of who we are. And sometimes this journey is not about finding something new, but about slowly recognizing what has always been there. As you listen about the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, you may feel a strange sense of calm. In the vastness of the universe, there is still a center that keeps everything in order. And in the complexity of inner life, there is also a deep part that keeps us from completely losing our way. The stars circling the center of the galaxy do not know they are guided by a black hole. They simply follow their paths. And perhaps humans are the same. We do not always realize what is guiding us, but over time, through experience, we begin to understand that something deep within is quietly shaping our lives. In the quiet space of night, as the body relaxes and the mind slows, imagining the center of the galaxy can bring a gentle comfort. Billions of stars moving in silence, each star on its own path, yet all connected to a deep center. This image is like the thoughts in your mind. Each thought comes and goes. Each feeling rises and settles. But all of them move around a center you do not always notice. And that center helps you remain steady even when you feel tired or lost. The mass of the black hole at the center of the galaxy is beyond imagination. Yet it does not cause everything to collapse. It creates balance. It keeps everything moving in a steady rhythm. And perhaps the human mind also needs such balance. A deep place, strong enough to hold all emotions, thoughts, and experiences in a quiet order. As you prepare to sleep, you are also moving closer to your own center. Outer thoughts begin to fade. The sounds of the day drift away. The mind slows, like stars slowly circling a deep point in space. And in that slowing, you may feel a gentle sense of stability. A feeling of being held, supported, guided into a quieter place. Just as the black hole at the center of the galaxy quietly keeps everything in motion, the deep part of your mind is holding you steady, keeping you from being carried away by the noise of life. As you listen, imagine a vast galaxy slowly turning in the darkness. Billions of stars shining each a small light, all moving around a deep center. No sound. No rush, only a gentle, steady motion, like the great breathing of the universe. And in that image, your mind may begin to slow as well. The thoughts of the day become softer, farther, lighter. and somewhere deep within, a quiet stability begins to spread. Like the center of the galaxy, which does not need to shine to become a point of support, the deepest part of you is also there, calm, steady, enduring. And when you allow yourself to settle, when you stop trying to control everything, you may begin to feel its presence, a light feeling, a feeling of being held, a sense that no matter how wide the world is, no matter how far thoughts drift, there is always a deep place you can return to. And in that feeling, sleep begins to come closer, slowly, gently, as if you are drifting along your own orbit around a quiet, warm center within your soul. As we continue to think about the center of the Milky Way, in the stillness of night, we may feel something deeply peaceful. In a universe so vast it feels endless, there is still a point quietly holding everything together. It does not need to shine brightly. It does not need to show itself. It simply exists, silent, enduring, full of weight. That image is like something deep inside every person. Sometimes we feel as if we are drifting among too many thoughts, too many emotions, like stars moving through a vast space. Yet somewhere something holds us, a familiar feeling, a value we carry, a part of ourselves that has never disappeared no matter how life has changed. Just as stars orbit the center of the galaxy without seeing it, we also live around the quiet truths within us without always noticing. They shape how we feel, how we remember, how we dream. And when night falls, when everything outside grows quiet, we may begin to sense that center more clearly, not through thought, but through stillness. Imagine the whole galaxy turning slowly in darkness. No sound, no rush, only gentle, steady motion like a deep breath. And you are there, small yet held in a soft order, supported by a deep point you do not need to see. In that feeling of being held, the mind begins to loosen. Thoughts no longer spin as fast. Everything slows, then slower still. And like stars quietly circling the center of the galaxy, you too are slowly drifting toward a deep and gentle place of rest, where sleep waits patiently and softly. Part 6. Types of black holes. In the deep stillness of the universe, black holes do not exist in only one form. Just as humans carry many layers of emotions and experiences within the universe, also creates many kinds of black holes, each born from a different story, a different journey, each holding its own unique influence. As we listen about these types in the quiet of night, we are not only learning about astronomy, but also touching a profound metaphor for the depths within the human mind. Some black holes are formed from the death of massive stars. When a star has burned through all its energy, it can no longer hold itself together. Gravity begins to take over, and the star slowly collapses inward, compressing until it becomes a deep, dark point in space. These are stellar mass black holes, not the largest in the universe, but carrying a powerful story. A journey from radiant light into complete stillness. Seen through Jung's perspective, this image is like memories in human life. There are experiences that were once bright, strong, alive, but over time they settle, compressing into the depths of the mind. They do not disappear. They simply become another form of existence, deeper, quieter, yet still carrying their weight. These stellar mass black holes can be seen as the deep moments in a person's life. A great change, a sorrow not forgotten, a memory that has passed, but still remains. All of these are like stars that once shone, then slowly folded inward, becoming a hidden part within us. We do not see them every day, but they are still there, quietly shaping how we think and feel. But the universe does not only hold black holes formed from individual stars. At the centers of galaxies exist far larger ones, supermassive black holes. They may have formed from the accumulation of enormous amounts of matter over billions of years. They lie at the center, deep and powerful, influencing the movement of entire galaxies. These supermassive black holes are like a center in human inner life. Jung believed that within each person there is a core, a deep center where experiences, memories, emotions, and instincts gather. This center is not always something we clearly recognize. but it is always there, holding everything together with its quiet presence. If stellar mass black holes are like individual memories, then supermassive ones are like the deepest self within, a place where everything slowly gathers over time, a place we may not see clearly, but that influences how we live, how we feel, and how we move through life. These enormous black holes can shape the development of entire galaxies. They do not simply remain still. They interact with what surrounds them. They influence how stars are born, how gas and dust move, and how a galaxy evolves over time. This carries a deep meaning when we think about the human mind. Some experiences in life are so powerful that they shape who we become. A turning point, an important relationship, a life-changing choice. These are like great black holes in the inner life, not in a negative sense, but as forces strong enough to change the way we grow. Jung described the journey of human growth as a journey into one's own depth, not to become perfect, but to gradually understand the hidden parts within. And in that journey, each experience leaves a mark. Some marks are small, like stellar black holes. Others are large, becoming the center of one's inner world. When we listen about different kinds of black holes, we may feel that the universe is not only vast, but deeply diverse. Not everything is the same. Each black hole has its own story. Each formation has its own meaning. And so it is with people. No two lives are the same. No two experiences are the same. Each person carries different depths, shaped by what they have lived through. Some things are small yet leave lasting marks. Some things are large and change us forever. As night falls and we begin to listen, imagining the different kinds of black holes in the universe can bring a gentle calm, like looking into a vast sky with many layers of depth, many stories all existing together in silence. Some black holes are small, formed from a single ending. Some are vast, formed over billions of years. And all of them have their place in the universe. None are meaningless. None are unnecessary. This is like what exists in the mind. Small memories, passing emotions, great experiences, all become part of who we are. Whether we remember them or not, whether we recognize them or not, they remain helping form the depth within us. As the body relaxes and the mind slows, you may feel that you also carry many layers within. Some thoughts drift on the surface, some feelings lie deeper, and far inside there are parts that have existed for a long time, quiet, steady, like black holes in the universe. There is no need to understand everything, no need to search for all that lies deep inside. Just knowing that it exists is enough, and knowing that those depths are part of what makes you who you are today. Just as black holes, whether small or vast, help shape the structure of the universe, experiences in life help shape the structure of the soul. And when you allow yourself to settle to rest, you may feel the stability those depths bring. In the stillness of night, imagine a vast universe filled with many kinds of black holes, each one holding a story, each one holding weight. And together they help the universe move in a slow, steady rhythm. And in that image, your mind may begin to slow. Thoughts no longer spin quickly. Emotions soften. Everything begins to settle little by little. Like the black holes quietly existing in the universe, the depths within you are also there, calm, steady, supportive. And as you allow yourself to drift more slowly, to let go, you may feel a gentle peace, as if being held in a wide and safe space. And in that settling within those layers of depth, sleep draws closer gently, like a soft wave, carrying you away from the busyness of the day into a deep and tender place of rest. As we continue reflecting on the different kinds of black holes, we may begin to sense something very familiar. Not all depths are the same. Some are formed in powerful moments, like the death of a star. Others grow slowly over long periods, like supermassive black holes forming over billions of years. The human mind is the same. Some experiences arrive suddenly and leave deep marks. Others build little by little through years, through ordinary days, through small emotions. And one day we realize there is a great depth inside us we never fully noticed before. In the quiet night, as all sounds begin to fade, you can imagine the universe breathing slowly. Small black holes scattered like hidden depths. Great ones resting at the centers like silent hearts of galaxies. All simply existing, not rushing, not loud, quietly holding everything in motion. And perhaps inside each person there are places like that. Places holding what has passed. Places holding strong emotions. Places we do not need to touch every day, yet know are they part of who we are. As you lie listening now, let your mind drift slowly, as if gazing into a vast sky filled with many layers. There is no need to understand everything, no need to search, only to feel everything growing softer, quieter, like the universe resting in its silence. And in that quiet, your thoughts begin to lighten, slower, farther, like stars moving around deep, dark regions without hurry. And as everything becomes gentler, sleep comes closer very softly, very naturally, as if you are drifting into a peaceful and safe space. Part 7. Black holes consume matter and create light. When people first hear the idea that a black hole can eat matter, many imagine a violent force, an irresistible swallowing. But if we listen to that story at a slower rhythm in the stillness of the night, we begin to notice something very different. A black hole is not only a place where things disappear, it is also a place where light is born. And within that paradox, a deep beauty of the universe quietly reveals itself. When gas and dust in space move close to a black hole, they do not fall straight in right away. Instead, they begin to spiral around it, forming a vast ring called an accretion disk. Streams of matter spin very quickly, slowly, drawing inward, and in the process, they heat up. The temperature rises. Light begins to appear, and before vanishing into the darkness, the matter shines more brilliantly than ever. It is a very strange image. The deepest region of darkness can give rise to such powerful light. Seen through the eyes of science, this happens because of friction. As streams of gas and dust whirl around each other at tremendous speed, they collide, compress, and release immense energy. But if we look through the perspective of Carl Jung, the image holds a very deep meaning about the inner life of human beings. There are times in life when people are like those streams of matter being drawn into a deep region within themselves. Thoughts, emotions, experiences do not disappear immediately. They swirl, collide, and create intense moments, perhaps days full of feeling, perhaps times when we think a great deal, perhaps phases when the mind seems unable to rest. Yet just like the accretion disk around a black hole, within those intense movements, another kind of light is formed. It may be understanding, it may be growth, it may be a deep change that we do not recognize at the moment it happens. Jung believed that when people dare to enter the deeper parts of the mind, dare to face strong emotions, dare to stay with unclear thoughts, then from that very friction, a new energy can be born. It is not always easy, it is not always gentle, but from the inner spiraling, a light can slowly emerge. In the universe, some black holes create quasars, sources of light so powerful that they can outshine entire galaxies. That light does not come from the black hole itself, but from the streams of matter spinning around it. Before being pulled into darkness, they flare brilliantly, illuminating vast regions of space. It is a beautiful image when we think about the human soul. There are periods in life when everything seems to swirl together. Thoughts, emotions, memories overlapping. Yet in those very moments, a person may find a deep source of light, a clearer understanding of themselves, a kind of growth that had not existed before. Perhaps within each person there are also such accretion disks, places in the mind where feelings and thoughts are moving, circling around some depth. We do not see them clearly, but we can sense them. There are times when we think more than usual, times when everything seems to gather inside, and sometimes it is precisely in those moments that we come to understand something important. As the body prepares for sleep and begins to relax, listening to the story of matter spiraling around a black hole can bring a gentle feeling. Imagine streams of gas moving very slowly, very deeply in space. They are not in a rush. They circle quietly, like an endless dance. The light that comes from them is not harsh. It is like a soft glow spreading through the darkness. And that image may allow the mind to slow. The thoughts of the day are like streams of matter circling, then gradually settling. Jung once said that light does not only come from what we clearly understand. Sometimes light comes from the very parts of darkness we dare to enter. And perhaps that is what black holes quietly remind us. Even in the deepest darkness of the universe, light can be born. Even in the depths of the mind, warmth can exist. There are times when people feel pulled into too many thoughts. But instead of resisting, sometimes we only need to let everything slow down. Like streams of gas circling a black hole, they do not rush in chaos. They move in a steady, slow rhythm, as if searching for a way to settle. And when we allow the mind to move slowly like that, a gentle feeling begins to appear. Thoughts no longer collide as strongly. They become softer, lighter, like light shining from a deep region in space, warm but not blinding. As you listen to this story, imagine yourself drifting slowly through the universe. Around you are spirals of light, gentle and quiet, streams of matter turning, creating a soft source of brightness in the endless darkness. And just the same, your thoughts may be circling too, but there is no need to stop them quickly. They will settle on their own, soften on their own, dissolve into stillness. Just as matter shines before merging into deep darkness, the human mind can also become softer before entering sleep. Not a sudden disappearance, but a very slow transition, a very gentle letting go. And in that letting go, perhaps you will feel a soft light within yourself. Not bright, not strong, just a warm, peaceful feeling, as if everything is slowly settling to the quiet rhythm of the universe. Then one by one, each thought, like streams of matter, will move into a deeper place. The light dims, movement slows, and in the end, only stillness remains. In that stillness, sleep will come very softly, very naturally, as if you are drifting through a gentle glow into a deep and safe darkness, where the mind can rest after a long day. The passage I have just written has reached and exceeded 4,000 characters, so in terms of length, it is suitable as the main content for part 7. However, to deepen the emotional flow, lengthen the rhythm, and help the listener drift more easily into sleep, I add an extended continuation. As we continue to imagine the spirals of light around a black hole, we may feel a very slow, steady movement, as if the whole universe is breathing. The streams of gas do not rush in chaos, but turn in a quiet rhythm. The light that comes from them is not an explosive brightness, but more like a silent glow stretching gently through the endless dark. In a very gentle way, this image resembles what happens in the mind as it begins to enter rest. At first, thoughts may still be clear, still moving, but then they begin to slow, as if circling around a deep point within. No longer as sharp as before, no longer as heavy. They become softer, more distant, and gradually settle. Jung believed that when people allow themselves to enter the depths within what once seemed tangled, will slowly find its own order. Like streams of matter circling a black hole, everything eventually finds a steady rhythm. And in that rhythm, a gentle kind of light is born, the light of understanding oneself, of acceptance, of peace. In the quiet night, as you lie listening, imagine those rings of light turning slowly. No sound, no hurry, only soft spirals moving in the deep darkness of space. And just the same, your mind is slowly turning too, each thought passing more lightly, each feeling settling more deeply. Nothing needs to stop right away. It only needs to slow a little, then a little more. And in that slowing, you may feel a soft warmth spreading like a dim light shining from a deep place in the universe. As the spirals grow gentler, the light softens. No longer bright, no longer strong, only a feeling very soft, very deep. And within that feeling, your mind begins to loosen completely, drifting into a quiet darkness, where sleep waits patiently and gently. Part 8. Jets. and their immense influence when thinking. About black holes, many people imagine a silent force pulling everything inward, as if it were only a dark region where all things disappear. But the universe always holds gentle and profound surprises. Not everything that approaches a black hole is swallowed. Sometimes, from that deep darkness, powerful streams of matter are shot outward, stretching thousands of light years through the quiet of space like silent beams of light. These are called jets, powerful streams of energy pushed out from the region near a black hole, traveling far, touching places that seem completely unrelated. If we listen to this story slowly, we may feel something very deep in that image. A small, dark region that can create effects so vast, they change how stars form within a galaxy. These jets carry energy spreading through space, touching distant clouds of gas. Sometimes they compress them and give birth to new stars. Sometimes they slow their formation. A quiet presence, yet its influence travels much farther than its origin. From Carl Jung's perspective, this image resembles the way hidden parts of the human mind can spread influence into life in ways we do not always notice. There are experiences that seem small, very personal, that happened long ago, yet they leave deep impressions. And from them, thoughts, emotions, and choices begin to take shape. Like a small black hole in space, there are things within us that seem insignificant. A passing memory, a sentence once heard, a feeling that appeared for only a moment. But over time, those things can create very gentle jets in the mind, a new way of seeing, a new belief, a subtle shift in how we feel the world. The universe is not loud when those jets appear. They make no sound we can hear. They simply travel silently, stretching across vast spaces, touching distant regions. And in inner life, deep influences are much the same. We do not always notice when a change begins. We do not always know what is quietly shaping us. But over time, we sense that we are becoming a different version of ourselves. Jets from black holes can affect how stars are formed in a galaxy. Energy from a deep place can influence clouds thousands of light years away, and within those small changes, new stars may be born. There is a very peaceful beauty in this when we think about the human mind. Sometimes a single deep thought can change how we live for years afterward. A feeling that is understood can help us grow. A moment of insight can quietly spread, changing how we see the world. Jung believed that what exists in the unconscious does not remain still. It interacts, spreads, and influences how we live each day. There are parts of us that do not speak, yet they create quiet currents in the mind. And from those currents, new ideas can form. New ways of seeing can appear. Small changes can slowly become part of who we are. What makes the image of jets so special is this: a black hole may be small compared to an entire galaxy, yet its influence can travel very far. It does not need to take up great space to create great change. It simply exists at a deep point, and from there, energy can spread everywhere. Humans are the same. Not only big things create change. Sometimes a small thought, a gentle realization, a deep feeling can quietly influence many parts of life. A person may change how they see themselves after a single quiet moment. A memory may soften later emotions. An experience may become the beginning of new paths. In the stillness of night, as you lie listening, imagine a small black hole far away in the universe. From that deep region, streams of matter extend outward, like thin ribbons of light passing through darkness. They do not rush. They are not chaotic. They simply travel slowly, very far. And in that image, your mind may begin to feel gentle jets within itself, soft thoughts, warm feelings, memories that once brought peace, all like small streams of energy spreading out, soothing the tension left from the day. You may begin to realize that even if a part of you is very deep and quiet, from that depth, beautiful things can still emerge. Feelings of peace, gentle dreams, soft ideas, and they spread, touching other parts of the mind, making everything softer. As the body relaxes, thoughts begin to slow. Like streams of matter being released from a black hole and fading into space, your worries can slowly fade too. There is no need to push them away. They only need to be allowed to drift. A black hole may be small, but its influence can stretch across vast space. And perhaps within you there are small yet deep things like that. A sense of safety, a peaceful memory, a quiet moment. And from that calmness can spread slowly, gently, reaching every corner of the mind. As you continue listening, let your mind drift along with those streams of light. They stretch through the darkness, very slow, very soft, like currents of energy spreading through space. There is nothing to hurry, nothing to try, only a feeling slowly spreading, a deep quiet, a gentle warmth. And within that spreading, the mind becomes still. Thoughts are no longer crowded. Emotions are no longer heavy. Everything seems to move in a very slow rhythm of the universe. And then within that slowness, within those gentle streams of energy drifting away, sleep comes closer. Not like a stopping, but like a continuing drift, gentle, soft, as if you are being carried far away through a peaceful space where everything is calm and quiet. Part 9. Rotation and the twisting of space-time in dollars. The deep stillness of the universe. There are movements we cannot see with the eyes, yet they continue, quietly, patiently, enduring through time. One of the strangest discoveries of science is this: black holes do not always stand still in darkness. Many of them are actually spinning, and as they spin, they do not only turn around themselves, they pull space and time along with them, as if bending the very fabric of the universe. At first, this may feel too distant to sense, but if we listen slowly in a quiet night, we may find that this image carries a beauty that feels very close to the inner life. A black hole turning slowly, and with that motion it draws everything nearby along, gently changing the paths of matter, bending what once seemed like straight lines. This phenomenon is called frame dragging, the twisting of space-time. Imagine a deep region of space where everything is turning very slowly, very deeply, like water moving in silence. No sound, no rush, only a circular motion repeating steady like the breathing of the universe. From Carl Jung's perspective, this image resembles the movements within the human mind, because the mind is never truly still. It carries the spirals of memory, emotion, and experience. And sometimes what has happened in the past does not remain quietly behind. It continues to turn, continues to move, silently shaping how we see the world today. There are things in life we passed through long ago, yet they remain. A memory, a feeling, a deep moment. And like a spinning black hole, those experiences create an invisible motion in the mind, gently changing the path of thoughts, of feelings, of the decisions we make each day. The phenomenon of frame dragging shows that when a black hole spins, it does not only affect nearby matter, it pulls space-time itself. Objects passing nearby cannot keep their original paths. They are gently shifted, as if carried by an unseen current. In inner life, there are things that work in the same way. Some experiences are deep enough to create a lasting motion within us, not a sudden change, but a gentle pull, a quiet influence that slowly changes how we think and feel. Jung believed that the past never truly disappears. It becomes part of the unconscious, and from there it continues to influence the present. Just as the rotation of a black hole holds the story of its formation, each turn carries the history of what has happened, the matter that once fell in, the collisions that took place, all preserved in its motion. People also carry such rotations within. Every experience, large or small, leaves an imprint. Over time, those imprints gather, forming a unique rhythm within the soul. We may not always notice, but sometimes in quiet moments, we feel something turning gently inside. A familiar feeling, a repeated thought, a memory that returns now and then. What is special is that this motion is not always disturbing. Like a black hole turning in the silence of space, the human mind can carry deep spirals and still remain stable. Those spirals create depth, they shape character, they form the way we become ourselves. As you lie listening in the quiet night, imagine a black hole turning slowly somewhere very far away. Space around it is gently pulled, twisted, moving in a steady rhythm. Nearby stars also move along, quietly changing their paths without knowing. And in that image, you may feel your mind also moving very slowly. The thoughts of the day, the feelings that remain, are turning gently like circles in water. There is no need to stop them, no need to control them, only let them slow. Just as the rotation of a black hole carries its history, your mind carries your story. What you have lived, what you have felt. Everything is there, not gone, but not needing to appear clearly. They rest deep inside, forming a rhythm that is entirely your own. Perhaps it is that rhythm that helps you feel like yourself, even as time passes, even as everything changes. There is still a part deep within that continues to turn, holding the marks of your life. As you prepare for sleep, sensing those gentle spirals can bring a soft feeling. Not chaos, but a calm movement. A slow repetition like breathing. Thoughts may come and go. They do not need to hold tightly. They can circle once, then fade. Another turn, then soften. And with each turn, the mind becomes quieter. Imagine space gently twisting around a deep point, and you are drifting with that motion. Not being pulled, not being carried away, just moving in a very slow, steady rhythm. In that slowness, the body relaxes, shoulders soften, breath deepens, thoughts lose their sharpness. They become softer like spirals slowing down. And then, like a black hole turning in the endless silence of the universe, your mind also enters a very gentle, very deep motion. There is no need to stop completely, only to slow. Then slower still, until everything becomes so soft that you no longer notice the movement at all. Only a feeling of drifting remains, a sense of being surrounded by stillness. And in that stillness, sleep comes closer, naturally, as if you are being carried into a gentle spiral, guiding you into a deep and peaceful place of rest. As we continue imagining the rotation of a black hole in the vastness of space, we may feel a very slow rhythm spreading. Not a fast, violent spinning, but a deep circular motion, steady as if the entire universe were turning in silence. Space is gently pulled along. Time seems softer, slower, gentler. In inner life there are similar rhythms, habits of thought, familiar emotions, memories that return from time to time, then settle again. They do not stand still. They quietly move in deep cycles within the mind. And these cycles create a sense of continuity that we remain ourselves even as days pass. Jung believed that the human soul is not completely still. It is like a slow current where images, symbols, and feelings return in cycles. Some things we think we have forgotten, yet one day they come back softly, as if traveling a very long circle. And as you listen tonight, you may feel those rotations slowing. The thoughts of the day no longer spin as quickly. They begin to settle as if moving into a deeper, gentler orbit. Each turn a little lighter, each motion a little softer. Imagine yourself drifting in a vast space where everything is turning slowly. No sound, no bright light, only a gentle movement surrounding you like a vast embrace of the universe. And in that slow spiral, your mind begins to loosen. Thoughts fade, feelings soften. The body grows a little heavier, a little warmer, as if you are being gently drawn into a quieter place. Nothing is being lost. Everything is simply slowing. And when everything becomes slow enough, soft enough, you may feel a deep silence opening. In that silence, there is nothing more to think, nothing more to hold, only a feeling of drifting lightly very far. And in that gentle drifting sleep comes as if you are entering a deep and safe orbit where every movement is soft, steady, and full of peace. Part 10. Temperature Hawking Radiation and Evaporation. In the deep stillness of the universe, black holes are often imagined as cold and unchanging places, dark regions where everything falls in and never returns. But as science moved deeper into understanding, humanity discovered a gentle and paradoxical truth. Black holes are not completely still. They have temperature. They emit a very subtle form of energy, and over immense stretches of time, they can slowly lose mass, as if quietly dissolving into space. This idea is called Hawking radiation. According to quantum physics, at the edge of a black hole, tiny and very deep movements of energy can create a form of emission. It is not powerful, not bright. It is very soft, very slow, like a thin breath released by the universe. And over billions, even trillions of years, a black hole can slowly evaporate, losing small amounts of mass at a time. If we listen to this story in the slow rhythm of night, we may feel a very special beauty in it. Something that seems eternal, unchanging, is quietly transforming over time. No noise, no rush, just a very gentle, fading, almost impossible to notice in any single moment. From Carl Jung's perspective, this image resembles how things within the human mind also change with time. There are memories that were once very clear, very heavy, taking up much space in the heart. Yet as years pass, they soften. They do not disappear entirely, but they no longer carry the same weight. There are emotions that were once intense, thoughts that once repeated again and again, but slowly with time they settle, as if gently evaporating, not because we force them to disappear, but because the mind has its own way of softening what was once sharp. In the universe, smaller black holes may evaporate faster than larger ones. Because they hold less mass, the loss happens more quickly. This holds a gentle meaning when we think about inner life. There are small worries, passing concerns, brief sadness that can fade quickly with time. A deep sleep, a new day, and they no longer feel as heavy. But larger things, deeper experiences, stronger emotions, may take longer to soften. They do not disappear quickly. They remain slowly changing, slowly becoming gentler, like large black holes losing mass over billions of years. Jung believed that healing in the human mind does not come from erasing, but from a slow transformation. What once hurt can become quiet. What once felt heavy can become light, not in a single day, but over a long journey where time gently softens everything. Hawking radiation, in a very deep way, is a bridge between two great worlds of science, gravity, and quantum mechanics. One is the world of the very large, very heavy, very deep. The other is the world of the very small, very delicate, almost invisible. And right at the edge of a black hole, those two worlds meet. This image carries a beauty very similar to inner life, because within each person there are both large and small parts, strong emotions, subtle thoughts, deep memories, passing feelings, and all of them exist together in the space we call the soul. Sometimes at the thin boundaries between consciousness and the unconscious, between remembering and forgetting, between sadness and peace, gentle transformations begin to happen. We do not always notice them, but they are happening very slowly, very deeply. As you lie listening in the quiet night, imagine a black hole breathing softly in space. No one hears it, no one sees it, yet little by little it is fading, not disappearing suddenly, but slowly letting go, gently releasing. That image is like the way thoughts within you can begin to settle. There is no need to push them away, no need to force forgetting, only let time pass. And with time they become lighter, softer, more distant. Just as smaller black holes evaporate more quickly, the small worries of the day can fade quickly when we allow ourselves to rest. One deep breath, one quiet moment, one sense of letting go. And then the small things drift away. The larger things may need more time, but even they are changing. Even they are becoming softer with each passing day. You may not notice in one night, but over months and years, you will feel that you have grown lighter. Jung said that the human soul has a natural ability to heal, just as nature always finds balance. And perhaps the image of a black hole slowly evaporating is a gentle reminder that nothing is truly fixed forever. Even the deepest things are changing over time. As your body relaxes, your mind also begins to enter a different state. Thoughts are no longer sharp, emotions no longer as strong. Everything becomes softer, lighter, as if gently evaporating. Imagine the remaining pieces of today dissolving like a thin mist. No hurry, no effort. They only need to be allowed to leave. And in their leaving, a quiet space opens. Just as the faint radiation from a black hole connects two vast worlds of the universe, the small moments of stillness within you are connecting two states, between waking and sleep, between thought and dream. And as you continue listening, everything may begin to slow even more. Thoughts dissolve like vapor. Emotions settle like soft dust. Nothing is forced, nothing rushed, only a gentle letting go, a soft fading, a lightness spreading through the mind. And in that fading sleep comes closer, very slowly, very gently, as if you are drifting into a soft space where everything grows calm, where the weight of the day slowly disappears with time. The passage I've just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough to serve as the main content for part 10. However, to deepen the soothing rhythm and emotional flow, I add an extended continuation. As we continue to imagine a black hole slowly evaporating in the stillness of the universe, we may feel a very slow rhythm of time. There is no sudden disappearance, no clear moment to say everything has ended. Only a gentle change unfolding across stretches of time so long they are almost impossible to notice. This is like how things in the mind slowly grow lighter over the years. There are thoughts that once felt very sharp, once kept us awake, but after many days, many months, they are no longer as clear. Not because we forced them away, but because they have slowly drifted into a deeper place in memory, becoming a quiet part of who we are. Jung believed that time does not only change the outer world, it also quietly heals the inner one. Emotions that once felt heavy can soften. Memories that once brought pain can become distant images. Not gone, but lighter, like tiny particles of energy slowly leaving a black hole over endless moments. In the quiet night, as your body begins to rest, you may feel a similar gentle evaporation. The tensions of the day begin to drift away. Repeating thoughts become fewer. Everything grows softer, slower, as if dissolving into a calm space. Imagine everything still lingering within you, drifting away like a thin mist. Nothing is being taken, nothing erased. They are simply becoming lighter, more distant, just as a black hole slowly releases small parts of itself over billions of years. And in that lightness, you may feel a deep, quiet opening. A quiet so soft, so deep, where nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be thought through. Only stillness spreading gently across the mind. And within that stillness, sleep comes naturally, as if you are drifting through a warm space where everything slowly fades, leaving behind a feeling of deep and peaceful relief. Part 11. Mergers and gravitational waves. In the endless stillness of the universe, there are rare moments when the deepest things touch one another. Two black holes, each carrying a long history and its own journey, may drift through space for millions of years before they meet. And when they draw close, there is no explosion. We can hear no blinding light like a star bursting into flame. Instead, there is a slow, powerful, profound merging so deep that the very fabric of space and time begins to tremble. Those tremors spread across the universe like gentle waves across an endless ocean. They are called gravitational waves. When two black holes collide, they do not simply become one. They create ripples that travel far, very far across billions of light years, carrying the trace of that meeting. It is not sound in the way we understand it, yet in a very deep sense, it is a kind of echo of the universe. A very ancient echo traveling silently through space for millions of years before reaching the sensitive instruments of humanity on Earth. In 2015, for the first time in history, humans detected those waves, not with the eyes, but by listening. It was a remarkable step forward because until then we had always observed the universe through light. But this time humanity began to hear the universe, to hear very small, very deep vibrations from events that happened in places beyond imagination. Seen from the perspective of science, this was a great achievement. But if we listen with the heart, the image carries a gentle meaning, close to the inner life of human beings. Carl Jung once said that people do not only see the world with their eyes, but also feel it through the deeper layers of the soul. There are things we cannot clearly see, yet we can sense them. A feeling, a vibration, a subtle shift within the mind, and sometimes those vibrations carry more meaning than any clear image. When two black holes merge, they send waves across the universe. And in inner life, there are moments like that too. Moments when two hidden parts within us meet. Perhaps when an old memory meets a present feeling. Perhaps when a sadness is finally understood. Perhaps when a part of ourselves we once avoided begins to be accepted. In those moments, there is no loud sound. No sudden change others can see. But inside, there is a deep vibration, a gentle shift. And from that, something begins to change. Jung believed that inner growth often happens in such moments of union, when different parts of the mind begin to understand each other, when inner conflicts soften, when once separated feelings begin to come together. And from that harmony, a gentle wave may spread, shaping how we feel life afterward. Gravitational waves from the merging of black holes can travel across billions of light years. That means an event from long ago can still reach us today. And in a deep way, this resembles how experiences from the past can still create vibrations in the present. There are memories from long ago that sometimes, with only an image, a sound, a familiar feeling, begin to stir again in the mind. Not strongly, not clearly, just a soft wave passing through the soul, then settling again. And just as humanity learned to listen to the universe instead of only watching, perhaps we too can learn to listen to ourselves instead of trying only to understand with reason. Because there are things that cannot be seen clearly, but they can be felt through subtle inner vibrations. In the quiet night, as the body relaxes, the mind becomes more sensitive to small movements, a gentle thought, a passing memory, a warm feeling. All like thin waves moving through the inner space. Imagine two black holes very far away, slowly moving closer. No hurry, no noise, just a slow drifting, a deep drawing near. And when they touch, space trembles softly, deeply. And from that, waves spread across the universe. In that image, you may feel the different parts of your mind gently coming together. The thoughts of today, the emotions that remain, distant memories, all meeting in the stillness. There is nothing to solve right now, nothing to understand immediately, only a gentle listening, a deep sensing. And like gravitational waves spreading through space, the gentle vibrations within your mind spread through the body. Shoulders soften, breathing slows. The mind releases its tension. Everything seems to sink into a very slow rhythm of the universe. You may not notice the exact moment when everything begins to soften. Just as humans cannot see gravitational waves directly, but only sense the tiny movements they carry, sleep comes the same way. Not suddenly, not clearly, just a gentle settling. Thoughts drift farther away like waves passing by. Emotions settle like water after a ripple. And in that stillness, the mind opens into a deeper space. A space where nothing needs to be thought, nothing needs to be remembered, nothing needs to be held. Only a feeling of being wrapped in peace. And just as the universe is quietly filled with deep music that we are only beginning to learn, to hear your mind is slowly sinking into a gentle rhythm, soft and slow. Within that rhythm, sleep will come, gently, deeply. Like a soft wave, moving through space, carrying you slowly into a place of deep and quiet rest. The passage I've just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so in length it meets the requirement for part 11. However, to deepen the emotional flow and slow the storytelling rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep, I add an extended continuation. As we continue to imagine gravitational waves spreading across the universe, we may feel something very gentle in that image. There is no bright light, no clear picture, only very small vibrations moving through space quietly and steadily. And though they come from a distant event, they can still reach another place after a long journey. This is like how the vibrations within the human soul can travel across time. A deep moment in the past may leave an echo that lasts for years. A feeling truly experienced can change how we see life later. These things do not disappear. They become soft, deep waves still moving quietly within us. Jung believed that the human soul is connected through deep layers we cannot always see. There are vibrations that need no words, understandings that need no explanation. They only need to be felt, and when we are still, we can hear them more clearly. In the quiet night, as all sounds fade, imagine the universe breathing slowly. Somewhere far away, two black holes merged long ago, and the waves from that moment are still traveling. No hurry, no stopping, only a deep, steady movement. And in the same way, the feelings within you are slowly softening. Thoughts are no longer crowded. They become gentle ripples, then settle, then fade into stillness. Your body grows a little heavier, your breath steadier, your mind softer. The small vibrations within you slow like distant waves dissolving into space. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be pushed away. Only a gentle settling, very soft, very deep. And in that settling, sleep comes closer. Not like an ending, but like a soft wave carrying you slowly, gently into a peaceful space where all movement becomes quiet and warm. Part 12. Other collisions. Black holes and neutron stars. In the endless quiet of the universe, not every encounter unfolds in complete silence. There are rare and profound moments when the densest objects in space touch one another, a black hole and a neutron star. These are collisions of power beyond human imagination. But if we listen to this story at a slow rhythm, within the stillness of night, we begin to see that it is not only a collision, it is a process that creates something new, something precious, as if the universe were continuing to write its own story. When a black hole meets a neutron star, immense gravity draws them close. They orbit each other slowly, one circle at a time, like a deep turning dance in space. And then, at a certain moment, they touch, not in a way we can see with our eyes. But in that instant, energy is released. Light bursts forth, and heavy elements are formed. Elements that humans have long considered precious, such as gold. The thought that gold, a metal valued throughout human history, may be created from a deep collision in the universe brings a very strange feeling. As if the most precious things do not always come from complete stillness, but from moments of meeting, from the touching of the deepest parts of existence. From Carl Jung's perspective, this image is like the way human beings grow through encounters with the hidden parts of themselves. There are times in life when we experience inner collisions. Old thoughts meet new understanding. Unnamed feelings meet acceptance. And in those moments, something very valuable can be born. Jung believed that people do not grow only through gentle experiences. Sometimes it is through facing things, feeling deeply, touching the parts of the soul that are hard to express, that transformation begins. Just as gold is formed from immense events in the universe, the most meaningful values within a person can be born from experiences that are intense and true. When a black hole and a neutron star collide, it is not only light that appears. Gravitational waves spread outward as well, carrying the story of the event across the universe. Light and vibrations together tell what happened, as if the universe remembers that moment in many ways. This holds a gentle meaning when we think about the human mind. Some experiences leave not only images, they also leave feelings. A memory may appear like a picture, but it also carries a sensation, a unique vibration, and both remain together, telling the story of what once was. Jung once said that people carry their stories not only in thoughts, but in feelings. Some things we remember through images, some things we remember through sensations, and sometimes the combination of both helps us understand ourselves more deeply. In the stillness of night, as the body slowly relaxes, imagining an encounter between a black hole and a neutron star can bring a deep feeling. Not a violent crash as we might imagine, but a slow circling, a gentle approach, a moment of contact that transforms into something new. This image is like those moments in life when we touch a part of ourselves we had never seen before. A feeling appears unexpectedly. A new understanding begins to form. A sense of peace arrives after a long time. Perhaps within every person there are such collisions. Moments when one deep part meets another, when the past meets the present, when sadness meets acceptance. And in those moments something very precious can be born, just as gold is formed from the meeting of deep cosmic bodies. When light and gravitational waves together tell the story of a collision, we can think of the way the mind remembers deep moments in layers. One part is image, one part is feeling, and all of it exists quietly, deeply. But what is special is that over time those memories no longer remain as sharp as they once were. They become softer, gentler, like a story told again in silence. And when we listen to them at night, we do not feel burdened. We simply feel their depth. Imagine a place very far away in the universe, where a black hole and a neutron star are slowly moving closer. They circle one another gently, like a soft, turning dance. Then, in one moment, they touch. Light spreads, vibrations travel, and from that, precious elements are formed. In that image, you may also feel the parts within your mind gently meeting, the thoughts of today, the emotions that remain, old memories, all slowly drawing closer, without hurry, without pressure. There is no need to understand everything, no need to solve anything right now. Just let everything exist. And sometimes within that simple existence, a feeling of peace is born. Just as the universe creates gold from deep collisions, the human mind can create precious things from its own experiences. A deeper understanding of oneself. Acceptance. A gentle feeling that had not been clearly sensed before. As you continue listening, your thoughts may begin to slow. No longer spinning strongly. No longer colliding intensely. They simply drift past lightly, like distant waves. The light in your mind becomes softer, no longer sharp, no longer bright. Only a very gentle warmth remains, like a distant memory glowing faintly. And in that softness, the body begins to release. Shoulders relax. Breathing becomes steady. The mind no longer holds tightly to anything, as if everything is settling after a deep meeting. And in that settling, a quiet space opens, a space where there is no need to think, no need to remember, only a sense of drifting, very light, very deep, as if you are being carried into a distant place where everything is calm and gentle. And in that gentleness, sleep begins to come closer, softly, slowly, like a gentle wave spreading through space, carrying you deeper into a place of rest, where all the stories of the day slowly settle into stillness. The passage I have just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough to serve as the main content for part 12. However, to deepen the feeling, the sense of drifting, and help the listener fall asleep more easily, I add an extended continuation. As we continue to reflect on the meeting between a black hole and a neutron star in the deep vastness of space, we may feel something very gentle, hidden behind what seems like a powerful event. Not every collision carries destruction. Sometimes in the moment of contact, something new is quietly formed, patiently and gently. The image of gold being born from distant cosmic encounters brings a special feeling. It reminds us that the most precious things do not always come from peaceful moments. Sometimes they are created when we dare to face our emotions, dare to look into the deeper parts of the soul and allow them to meet naturally. Jung believed that within every person there are different parts, memories, desires, fears, hopes, And over time, those parts begin to find one another, to understand one another, to come into harmony. It is not always easy, but from that meeting, a person becomes more whole. In the quiet night, as you lie listening, imagine the distant spirals of the universe slowly settling after a great encounter. The light has softened, the vibrations have spread far, and now only a soft, deep, quiet space remains. Just the same, the thoughts within you are slowly settling. What remains of the day is no longer as clear as before. They grow distant, softer, as if fading into a deep region of memory. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to push away. Just allow everything to exist gently, then settle on its own, like gravitational waves that have passed, leaving only stillness. In that stillness, you may feel a very gentle warmth, like something precious resting deep inside. There is no need to search for it, no need to name it, only to feel that it is there. And as everything grows quieter, slower, softer, sleep begins to come closer, as if you are drifting lightly through a deep and safe space where all collisions have passed, all vibrations have settled, and only peace remains gently surrounding the mind. Part 13. Extreme Phenomena. In the deep stillness of the universe, not everything always unfolds gently and evenly. There are moments that are extreme powerful, where invisible forces reveal their hidden strength. But if we listen to this story slowly, we may see that even the most intense phenomena carry a quiet beauty, a deep meaning like the movements within the human soul. When a star moves too close to a black hole, immense gravity begins to stretch it. Piece by piece, the star is pulled longer, torn apart, then slowly dissolves into a bright stream of matter before disappearing. This phenomenon is called tidal disruption. At first, it sounds powerful, almost violent, but if we imagine it in the stillness of night, we may see something different, a dissolving, a letting go, a process in which an old structure slowly changes its form. From Carl Jung's perspective, there are times in life when people experience moments like this. Not a total destruction, but a feeling of being stretched by things that feel too large. A turning point, a change, a strong emotion. These can make us feel as if we are being pulled out of the familiar shape of ourselves. But Jung believed that within those moments that feel like being torn open, change begins. Not to lose who we are, but to move into a new shape, a new understanding, a new way of feeling. And even if the process makes us feel fragile, it is a natural part of growth. In the universe, when a star is stretched and dissolves, it does not disappear immediately. Before merging into darkness, it can shine very brightly. A final light, radiant and deep, as if telling its story one last time. This carries a gentle meaning when we think about intense moments in life. Sometimes when we face great change, we understand things we had never realized before. A deep light is born from those difficult times. Black holes are not always active. Some remain quiet for millions of years. They lie there still, almost without any sign. No light, no clear movement, as if they are resting in a very deep sleep. But when a star passes too close, when a new stream of matter appears, they can awaken again, becoming one of the brightest sources in a galaxy. This image is like the deep parts of the human mind. There are memories that have been still for a very long time. Emotions we believed were forgotten. They do not disappear. They simply rest in a deep corner of the soul. And sometimes something very small, a sound, an image, a feeling, can awaken them again. Jung once said that the unconscious is like a vast land within each person. Some parts are always quiet, but they are not gone. They are waiting. And when the time comes, they may appear again carrying very real feelings. But what is special is that just as a black hole shines when new matter comes near, the human mind can also brighten when it touches something meaningful. A meeting, a story, a peaceful moment. These can awaken beautiful feelings that once rested quietly. Not every return is heavy. Some memories return with warmth. Some emotions, when awakened again, help us feel more alive, more deeply connected to life. In the universe, there are black holes that do not lie at the centers of galaxies. They wander alone, drifting through space in complete silence. No stars orbiting them, no light, just a solitary existence quietly passing through vast regions of darkness. This image carries a deep feeling when we think about the human soul. There are times in life when we also feel as if we are drifting alone, not because no one is around, but because inside we are passing through a personal journey very deep and very quiet. Jung believed that there are phases in life when a person needs to be alone with themselves, not to isolate, but to listen, to understand, to feel the parts that we do not notice in the noise of everyday life. A wandering black hole is not lost. It is simply moving along its own path, and people are the same. There are times we need a quiet space, a place where we can drift slowly without needing to hurry anywhere. As you lie listening tonight, imagine a deep region of space. Somewhere a star is being stretched, its light spreading in silence. In another place, a black hole is sleeping for millions of years. And far away, another black hole drifts alone without sound, without hurry. Everything in the universe is moving in its own rhythm. Nothing happens too fast. Nothing truly disappears. Everything is simply changing, resting, awakening, drifting. And in your mind, there are movements like that too. Some thoughts are fading. Some feelings are resting. Some memories are drifting far away. They are all there, but they do not need to be touched right now. Your body grows a little heavier, your breath steadier, your mind slower. No more feelings stretched, no more strong thoughts as before. Everything is softening, like a star dissolving in its final light. The thoughts of the day are settling. Like a sleeping black hole, deep emotions are resting. And like a wandering black hole in space, your mind is drifting gently, not needing to go anywhere, not needing to do anything. Just drift, slowly, lightly, deeply. And in that gentle drifting sleep begins to come closer. Not suddenly, not loudly, just a deep settling, as if you are entering a very quiet region of space where all movement slows, where every feeling is laid down, where you can rest completely in peace. The passage I have just written has reached and exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough for part 13. However, to deepen the emotional flow and extend the soothing rhythm, I add a continuation. As we continue to reflect on these extreme phenomena in the universe, we may notice something gentle. Even the most powerful events happen in silence. A star being stretched makes no sound we can hear. A sleeping black hole leaves no clear sign. A wandering black hole leaves no trace. Everything simply moves in a very slow, very deep rhythm. This image is like what happens within the human soul. Some changes are very large, yet not loud. A person can change deeply inside without anyone noticing. An old emotion can settle without needing to be spoken. A part of us can slowly become softer, gentler over time. Jung believed that the mind has its own cycles, times when it opens, times when it withdraws, times when it awakens, times when it rests. And each stage has its meaning. Just as a black hole can sleep for millions of years and then shine again, one day the human soul also has deep and quiet periods where everything is held and allowed to rest. In the quiet night, as you listen, imagine every movement within you slowing. Thoughts no longer pull you as strongly. They gently release, like a star dissolving into space. Emotions are no longer as intense. They rest like a black hole sleeping in the dark. And perhaps a part of you is drifting lightly like a wandering object in a galaxy. There is no need to know where you are going, no need to find a destination, only to drift in stillness held within a vast and safe space. As the body relaxes more deeply, you may feel a profound calm spreading. Shoulders soften, breath slows, thoughts move farther away. Everything settles little by little. There is nothing left from today that must be held, nothing that must be solved right now. Everything can be placed down gently, slowly, like objects in the universe drifting into soft darkness. And in that, settling sleep comes closer, not like an ending, but like a refuge, a very deep, quiet place where you can rest completely, like a still region of space where all motion has softened and only peace remains. Part 14. Deeper Mysteries, Physical Singularity in the Part 14. Deepest Layers of the Universe, where light cannot return, and time seems to lose its familiar meaning. There exists an idea that even science admits it does not fully understand. At the center of a black hole, there is believed to be a point called a singularity, a place where the physical laws humans know no longer behave in the usual way. It is not a place we can see nor something we can touch. It is a boundary of understanding, a deep region where knowledge stops and mystery begins. Listening about the singularity in the quiet of night may bring a very special feeling, not fear, but a deep stillness. Because in such a vast universe, the presence of things that cannot yet be explained makes everything feel gentler. It reminds us that not everything needs to be fully understood. Some places only need to be felt. Carl Jung once said that within the human mind, there are also such singularities. Places reason cannot reach, places language cannot fully describe. Deep feelings, distant memories, symbols that appear in dreams that we do not fully understand yet still sense their presence. The singularity in a black hole is where what we know about space and time is no longer enough to explain. And in the human soul, there are similar regions, places we cannot name, cannot analyze, yet still know they exist. A familiar feeling with no clear origin, a sadness that cannot be spoken, a peace that comes without reason. Science has proposed many ideas to try to understand these deep regions. Some speak of wormholes, imagined tunnels connecting distant places in the universe. Others speak of white holes, the opposite of black holes, where matter might emerge instead of being pulled in. And deeper still, quantum physics touches realms so small and delicate that everything seems to follow unfamiliar rules. These ideas may sound distant, but if we listen with the heart, they carry a deep beauty. They are like invisible paths connecting different parts of the human mind. Jung believed that dreams are a kind of tunnel like this, where consciousness and the unconscious meet. A place where what we do not understand in the day appears in strange, deep, symbolic images. Perhaps within each person there are such wormholes, unexpected moments when we touch a distant memory. A familiar scent brings back a time long past. A melody returns us to an old feeling. These connections are not always clear, but they exist very gently, very deeply. A black hole, in some way, is where the greatest laws of the universe meet. Gravity, quantum, space-time, all seem to touch there. A very small point, yet holding the greatest questions humanity has ever asked. This image is like the deepest center of the human soul, a place where different parts of the self meet. Memory, emotion, intuition, awareness, all existing together in a space that is very deep, very quiet. And we do not need to understand it fully to feel its presence. Jung believed that not everything in the mind needs to be explained. Some parts only need to be accepted. Some things only need to be listened to. And there are deep regions that can only be felt in silence. At night, as the body relaxes and the mind slows, listening to the deep mysteries of the universe can bring a special feeling. Not the need to find answers, but the feeling of being close to something vast and deep that we do not need to fully understand. Imagine a deep, dark region in space, where space itself seems to soften, time seems to slow, and familiar laws begin to fade. At the center is a very small, very deep point where everything gathers. And in your mind, there is also a place like that. A place very quiet, very deep. A place without noisy thoughts, without strong emotions, only a very gentle presence. As you listen, the thoughts of today begin to fade. They do not disappear at once, but they grow more distant, like stars far away. The mind no longer tries to understand everything. It simply drifts very softly, very slowly, Just as science stands before the singularity and accepts that some things cannot yet be understood, you too can allow yourself not to understand everything right now. No need to find answers, no need to arrange thoughts. Just be there, in stillness. Perhaps in those moments of not trying to understand, the mind truly begins to rest. Like closing the eyes, not needing to see, not needing to think, only feeling the quiet spreading. Images of wormholes, of invisible tunnels connecting distant places, are like the paths that carry your mind from wakefulness into dreams. There is no clear boundary, no exact moment, only a gradual drifting. Thoughts soften, feelings become gentle, everything seems to dissolve into a deeper region of the mind. And deep within there is a quiet space where you can rest. No need to go anywhere, no need to do anything, just be. Just as a black hole is where the greatest laws of the universe meet, sleep is where the deepest parts of the mind meet, where consciousness and the unconscious come together, where images and feelings merge softly. As you continue listening, let your mind drift slowly into that deep place. There is nothing to fear, nothing to understand, only a very soft, very quiet feeling, as if you were being gently held by a vast space. And in that space, sleep is waiting, very near, very gentle, like a door opening in silence, leading you deeper into a place where thoughts settle, questions fade, and only deep peace remains softly covering the mind. The passage I have just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough for part 14. However, to deepen the emotion and extend the soothing rhythm, I add a continuation. As we continue to reflect on the singularity where understanding seems to pause, we may feel a strange kind of peace in that thought. Not every question needs an answer. Not every mystery needs to be explained. Some places in the universe exist only to remind us that vastness always reaches beyond imagination. Jung believed that the depth within the human soul is the same. There are parts we cannot name, cannot fully understand, yet they quietly remain. They may be vague feelings, dreams that make little sense, intuitions that come and go. And instead of trying to grasp them, sometimes we only need to let them exist, just as the universe allows the singularity to remain a mystery. In the quiet night, as everything settles, you may feel your mind moving towards such a deep place. The thoughts of the day are no longer clear. Images begin to fade. Everything drifts into a space where there is no need to analyze, no need to understand. Like the idea of invisible tunnels connecting distant places, your mind is gently opening pathways from wakefulness into sleep. There is no sudden shift, only a slow, soft change, as if you are drifting through a door you do not need to see. Your breathing becomes steadier. The body grows a little heavier. Thoughts move farther away, like stars fading behind as you drift into deeper space. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be remembered. Only a quiet stillness remains where the mind can rest completely. And within that stillness, sleep comes closer, very softly, very deeply, as if you are being carried into a place where questions no longer need answers and every mystery simply exists in peace. Part 15. Black holes and the evolution of galaxies. In the vast stillness of the universe, each galaxy is like a great living body, growing, changing, and maturing across billions of years. Stars are born, shine, then quietly fade. Clouds of gas gather, disperse, and form new generations. And at the center of many galaxies, quietly and deeply, there exists a black hole, not as a destroyer, but like an invisible heartbeat shaping the evolution of an entire system. Science has gradually come to understand that black holes do not simply pull everything inward. They influence how stars form, how galaxies grow, and the rhythm of life in the universe. Streams of energy from the region near a black hole can heat clouds of gas, making it harder for them to gather and form new stars. Yet sometimes those same streams compress matter in other regions, helping new stars come into being. as if the black hole is quietly adjusting the pace at which new stars are born, keeping the galaxy from growing too fast and from slowing too much. A balance very deep, very subtle, unseen by the eyes but felt in the way the universe gradually takes shape. In a gentle way, this image resembles what happens within the human mind. Carl Jung once said that each person has a deep center inside a part that is not loud, not visible, yet influences how we grow over time. From that deep place, thoughts, feelings, and decisions slowly form, just as stars are born in distant regions of a galaxy. The black hole at the center of a galaxy is closely connected to the mass of the entire galaxy. As the galaxy grows, the black hole grows with it, and in return, the presence of the black hole shapes how the galaxy develops. As if between them there is a deep, silent connection that cannot be separated. This holds a gentle meaning when we think about inner life. People also grow in a similar way. Experiences gather over the years. Memories, feelings, understanding grow with time, and somewhere deep inside, that inner center grows alongside all of it. Jung believed that growth is not only about learning from the outside world, it is also a journey into one's own depth, a slow journey where we begin to understand the inner parts of ourselves, accept what has been, and find a personal sense of balance. Just as a black hole does not allow a galaxy to grow chaotically, the deep part of the mind can help regulate the rhythm of life. There are times when we want to rush, times when we try to do too much at once, but then a gentle feeling within reminds us to slow down, to rest, to listen. It is like an invisible force keeping everything from going too far, not a barrier, but a balance. A black hole can influence the formation of new stars, and in a similar way, the human mind influences how new thoughts appear. When we are tense, when the mind is crowded, new ideas struggle to form. But when we slow down, when we allow ourselves quiet space, new thoughts can appear naturally, like stars being born in a peaceful region of space. At night, as you lie listening to these words, you may feel that inside you there is also a galaxy slowly developing. The memories of today, the feelings you have lived through, the thoughts still quietly drifting, all existing in a deep space within you. And somewhere very deep, there is a part keeping everything in balance, a part helping you slowly release, a part helping thoughts begin to slow. Just as a black hole adjusts the rhythm of star birth, your mind is adjusting its rhythm of rest. Thoughts begin to grow fewer, feelings soften. Images in the mind are no longer as clear. Your breathing becomes slower. The body grows a little heavier. Shoulders relax. Everything is entering a slow rhythm, like the growth of a galaxy over billions of years. There is nothing to hurry, nothing to try to understand. Everything is unfolding in its natural way. Imagine a galaxy slowly growing in darkness. New stars appear. Old stars gently fade. And at the center, a black hole quietly keeps everything from moving too fast, from drifting too far. In that image, you may feel a gentle stability, a sense of being held, protected. Jung believed that within every person, there is such a place of balance, a place we can return to when we are tired, a place where we do not need to think too much, a place that simply exists. And as you lie here listening, perhaps you are moving closer to that place. The thoughts of the day are no longer pulling you away. They are slowly settling like clouds of gas drifting in a quiet galaxy. New ideas do not need to appear now. Plans do not need to continue. Everything can rest. Just as a galaxy does not create all its stars at once, your mind does not need to remain active all the time. It can slow down, rest, settle. And in that settling, you may feel a deep, gentle space opening within. A space where movement becomes lighter, where thoughts grow more distant, as if you are drifting slowly through a vast galaxy held by an invisible force, not needing to go anywhere, not needing to do anything. Just drift, slowly, lightly, and in that gentle drifting sleep begins to come closer, not suddenly, not in a rush, only a deep settling, like the way a galaxy grows over time, little by little, in endless quiet. You are moving into a deeper place of rest, where the mind is fully released, where thoughts are laid down, where the body is allowed to rest. And just as a black hole quietly keeps a galaxy in balance, sleep is coming to keep you rested, restored, and returned to the deep stillness within yourself. The passage I have just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough for part 15. However, to deepen the feeling, the slowness, and the soothing quality, I add a continuation. As we continue to reflect on the slow evolution of galaxies, we may feel a very special rhythm, a rhythm that is not hurried, not rushed, but deep and enduring. Stars are not born all at once. Everything unfolds in stages, in cycles. And at the center, the black hole remains quietly present, like a silent anchor holding everything in balance. This image is like the journey of human growth. No one changes in a single night. No one understands themselves in one moment. Everything happens slowly. Experiences gather. Feelings settle. Understanding forms over time. Jung believed that true growth does not lie in moving fast, but in going deep into what we feel, into what we have lived. And in that journey, there is always a part within that quietly keeps us from losing our way. On this quiet night, as you lie listening, imagine yourself drifting slowly through a galaxy growing across time. Nothing needs to happen right now. Nothing needs to be finished. Everything can continue tomorrow. The thoughts of today are moving farther away, like clouds of gas dissolving into space. Feelings are softening, like stars settling after a long cycle. Your body grows a little heavier, a little warmer, as if held by a very gentle and deep force. There is no need to try to sleep, no need to do anything. Only let yourself drift in the quiet. Just as a galaxy evolves across billions of years without hurry, you too can rest in your own rhythm. And in that slowness, in that sense of being held and surrounded, sleep comes closer, very soft, very deep, as if you are slowly dissolving into a peaceful space where all movement has settled, where the mind can rest completely in gentle stillness. Part 16. The first image of a black hole. There are moments in human history when silence becomes especially deep, not because nothing is happening, but because something very great has just been seen. The year 2019 was one such moment. For the first time, humanity was able to see an image of the region around a black hole. Not the black hole itself, but the gentle ring of light surrounding its deep darkness. An image both simple and mysterious, as if a small door had just opened at the edge of the unknown. When we look at that picture, we do not see clear details. We do not see sharp shapes. Only a faint ring of light surrounding a deep, dark region. Yet it is precisely that haziness that brings a very strange feeling. As if for the first time, humans were not only imagining, not only calculating, but truly touching something that had once been beyond the reach of sight. In a gentle way, that moment is like a time when a person sees a hidden part of themselves. Carl Jung once said that there are things in the mind that always exist, yet we cannot see them clearly. They appear only through symbols, through images, through vague feelings. And when we suddenly realize something about ourselves, the feeling is similar to seeing a ring of light around darkness, not fully understood, yet known to be there. The ring of light around the black hole that humanity saw is not light coming from the black hole itself. It is the light of matter spinning around it, heating up, moving just before it disappears inside. And that image confirmed something scientists had predicted for a very long time, what the theory of relativity says about how space and time bend around great mass. But when we listen to that story at night, what moves us is not only the precision of science, it is the long journey that led to that moment. Decades of observation, thousands of people working together, telescopes placed in many places across the world, all looking toward one distant point. And then, from all those efforts, a faint image slowly appeared. That image is like the way people gradually come to understand themselves over time. There is no single moment when everything becomes completely clear. Only little by little, a small realization, a deep feeling, a quiet understanding of oneself that cannot easily be put into words. Jung believed that the journey inward is not about finding one clear answer, but about slowly seeing the parts that were once unnoticed, not through bright light, but through very soft, very faint rings of light, as if emerging from a deep place. The first image of a black hole was not a perfect picture. It was not sharp like images of planets or stars. Yet that very imperfection made it feel more real. It was like a dream that we remember only in part, a blurred image we cannot fully explain yet still feel holds meaning. As technology continues to grow, humanity can see farther, deeper. Telescopes become more sensitive. Faint signals from the universe are recorded more clearly. And little by little, things that were once mysteries begin to reveal themselves. This is also like the journey of growing as a person. As we live a little longer, experience a little more, we begin to see more clearly what we once did not understand. Feelings that were once vague begin to take shape. Thoughts that were once scattered begin to connect. But perhaps what matters most is not seeing everything. It is knowing that those deep things are real, that there are parts of the universe that exist even if we have not yet seen them. And there are parts within the soul that exist even if we do not yet fully understand them. In the quiet night as you lie listening, imagine yourself looking into a very distant sky. There is a faint ring of light surrounding a deep darkness. There is no need to understand what it is. No need to know exactly what it looks like. Just look gently, slowly. That image may help your mind slow down. The thoughts of today are no longer as clear as before. They become softer like that ring of light. They do not disappear, but they are no longer sharp. Just as it took many years for humanity to see the first image of a black hole, the mind also needs time to see the hidden parts within, not in a single moment, but in slowness, in stillness. And as you allow yourself to slow down, your thoughts begin to soften, no longer spinning strongly, no longer pulling you far away. They simply drift very lightly like faint clouds in space. Your body grows heavier, your breathing steadier. The mind begins to settle, as if you were looking at a very distant, very deep image and slowly letting your gaze fall away. There is no need to look anymore, no need to think anymore. Just feel the quiet spreading. Like the ring of light surrounding darkness, a very gentle warmth is also surrounding your mind, a feeling of safety, a feeling of being held. And in that gentle embrace, everything begins to soften. Images fade, thoughts dissolve. Everything becomes very slow, very deep, as if you were moving away from the light of the day, entering a very soft darkness where nothing disturbs you, where nothing needs to be understood, only stillness. And in that stillness, sleep begins to come closer, gentle like a ring of light closing around you, deep like a dark space opening for you to rest. You are slowly drifting into a peaceful space where all questions are set down, where all images become soft, where the mind can rest after a long day. And just like the first time humanity saw a black hole, you too are slowly seeing something very gentle within yourself, a deep, quiet place where sleep is waiting very near, very soft, very kind. The passage I have just written has exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough for part 16. However, to deepen the emotional feeling and extend the soothing rhythm, I add a continuation. As we continue to think about the moment when humanity first saw the region around a black hole, we may feel a special stillness within that journey. It was not only an achievement of technology or science. It was a moment when humanity touched something that had once existed only in imagination, in equations, in distant dreams. Jung believed that there are images that appear in the mind like symbols. They are not entirely clear, yet they carry a deep feeling. And when we see something for the first time, whether in the outer world or within ourselves, we do not fully understand its meaning right away. We simply feel that something has opened. The image of the ring of light around darkness is like that. It does not explain everything. It does not answer every question, but it lets us know that a very deep world exists, and humanity is slowly moving closer to understanding it. In the human mind, there are also such moments. Times when we suddenly realize something small about ourselves. A passing thought, a familiar feeling, something we had never noticed before. And even if we cannot name it, we know that it holds meaning. In this quiet night, as you listen, imagine looking at that image once again. A faint ring of light, a deep, dark space. There is no need to see clearly, no need to understand. Just feel the stillness it brings. Your thoughts are also becoming softer like that. They do not disappear at once, but they are no longer sharp, no longer asking for attention. They are like distant images drifting slowly through the mind. Your body is relaxing a little more. You're breathing a little deeper. Your heartbeat a little slower. Everything is entering a very gentle state, like when light fades and night grows deeper. There is nothing left to see, nothing left to explore, only a very soft stillness spreading through the mind. And in that stillness, sleep comes closer, light as a ring of light closing, deep as a dark space opening, a place very calm, very safe where you can rest completely and let everything slowly drift away in peace. Part 17. Black holes in the early universe. When we look at the night sky and think about black holes, we often imagine them as ancient entities formed after billions of years of the universe's evolution. But science has gradually realized something very unusual. Some black holes may have appeared very early, almost when the universe was still young. They did not wait for millions of stars to be born and collapse. They may have formed directly from massive clouds of gas collapsing in the primordial darkness. A very fast, very deep birth, as if one part of the universe had matured before the rest had time to form. The thought of these early black holes brings a very special feeling when we listen in the quiet of night. The universe was still young then. The first light had only just begun to spread. Galaxies were not yet stable. And in that uncertainty, deep, dark points appeared like silent seeds waiting for the future. In a gentle way, this image is like the deep parts of the human soul that are formed very early. Carl Jung believed that each person is born carrying primal images, deep patterns within the unconscious things that do not come from personal experience but seem to have existed before. He called them archetypes, ancient imprints within the human mind. Black holes that appeared early in the universe are like that. They did not need to wait for everything to be complete. They were already there from the earliest days, and from that silent presence they slowly became centers around which galaxies later formed. Perhaps within each person there are also parts formed very early, the first sensations, faint childhood memories. Emotions we do not clearly remember yet are still there deep inside. And over time, from those primal parts, a person slowly grows and builds a life. Science suggests that some black holes may have formed when enormous clouds of gas in the early universe collapsed directly without ever becoming stars. A formation that was fast, powerful, and deep. As if from a region of chaos, a very heavy point appeared, becoming the center of later movement. This holds a gentle beauty when we think about the inner journey. There are things within us that form very early, even before we understand them. A feeling of safety when held, a fear without a clear reason, a curiosity about the world. These come early and slowly become the foundation of how we see life. Jung believed that what forms early often has a lasting influence, not because it is strong, but because it lies very deep. Like seeds planted in the earliest days, growing over time and shaping the way we feel the world. Early black holes also raise a great question for science. How could the universe develop so quickly? How could such large structures appear so soon after its beginning? These questions remain without complete answers. Yet in the absence of answers, there is a peaceful feeling. It reminds us that the universe does not always need to follow a slow path. Sometimes there are sudden leaps. Things appear unexpectedly, and from that, new journeys begin. People are the same. Not all growth happens slowly. There are moments in life when we change very quickly. A sudden realization, a deep experience, a meeting that makes us see everything differently. and from that moment a new part of us is formed. As you lie listening to this story in the quiet night, imagine the universe when it was still very young. Everything was still blurred, light was sparse, space was wide and empty. And in that stillness, the first black holes appeared like deep, silent points in the darkness. They did not shine, they made no sound, they simply existed. And over time, everything began to move around them. Galaxies slowly formed. Stars slowly appeared. As if from a very small, deep point, a vast structure began to grow. In your mind, there may also be such deep points. Very old feelings, very distant memories, parts you do not often think about. Yet they are there, quiet and deep, helping shape who you are today. As the night grows deeper, the thoughts of today also grow more distant, no longer clear, no longer sharp. They are like faint clouds drifting in the early universe. Your mind becomes calmer, slower, no longer trying to arrange everything, no longer trying to understand it all. Like the young universe, everything within you can return to a very simple state, not complicated, not heavy, only a space that is very light, very deep. Your breathing becomes steady, your body heavier, shoulders relax. Every movement inside slowly quiets. Images fade, sounds grow distant. Only a gentle drifting remains, as if floating in a vast space where everything is still forming very slowly. You do not need to think about tomorrow. You do not need to remember today. Just be here, in this quiet. Like early black holes that appeared very early and quietly held their place, your mind is returning to its deepest parts. A place very old, very calm, very still. And in that stillness, sleep comes closer. Not in a hurry, not suddenly, just a slow drifting, as if you were returning to a very primal state, very light, where thoughts dissolve, where the body rests, where the mind is held by a soft and safe darkness. The passage I have just written has reached and exceeded 4,000 characters, so it is long enough for part 17. However, to deepen the feeling, slow the rhythm, and make it more soothing, I add a continuation. As we continue to imagine the universe in its earliest days, we may feel a very special quiet. There were not many stars as there are now. No brilliant galaxies stretching across space. Everything was still faint, sparse, like an unfinished dream. And in that vast space, the first black holes appeared silent and deep, like the beginnings of very long stories to come. This image reminds us of the earliest years of a human life. There are things formed when we are very small, before we can even remember. First feelings, first impressions, very gentle moments that leave deep traces, and even if we no longer remember them clearly, they remain just as early. Black holes still remain after billions of years. Jung believed that within each person there is a very ancient part, a part that does not belong only to the present, but seems to be carried from long before. That part does not speak in words, it does not appear clearly, but sometimes we feel it in dreams, in deep feelings we cannot explain. In this quiet night, as you listen, imagine yourself drifting slowly in a young universe. Nothing is hurried, nothing is loud, only deep points quietly existing, waiting as everything around them slowly forms. Your thoughts are also becoming more sparse, no longer crowded, no longer flowing endlessly. They appear and fade very gently, like faint clouds drifting in the early universe. Your body relaxes more, your breathing slows, your heartbeat becomes steady. A very deep, very gentle feeling spreads, as if you are returning to a very old place, very calm, where there is nothing to think about, nothing to hold. And in that primal, quiet sleep comes closer, very soft, very slow. As if you are dissolving into a gentle space where everything is laid down, where the mind can rest, and where you can drift into a peaceful and warm sleep. Part 20. Conclusion: the final frontier of science. In the long journey through the stories of black holes, what remains is not only numbers, scientific concepts, or distant images in the universe. What lingers most deeply is the feeling that we have touched a vast boundary of understanding. A black hole, in a way, is both the simplest and the most extreme thing science has ever discovered. Simple because it is born from gravity, a familiar natural force present everywhere, yet also extreme, because their gravity is so strong that even light cannot escape. Time can slow down, and the familiar laws seem to no longer operate in the way we once knew. When we think about black holes, we are not only thinking about an object in space. We are thinking about a point where many fields of science meet. Astronomy tells the story of stars, of their birth and their death. Physics studies gravity, the bending of space and time. Quantum physics asks questions about things very small, very subtle. And then philosophy enters, asking deeper questions about the nature of reality, about existence, about the limits of human understanding. The black hole becomes a bridge between these fields that once seemed so different. It helps humanity realize that the universe is not a collection of separate pieces. Everything is connected in ways that are deep and delicate, sometimes beyond imagination. And because of this, the black hole is not only an object of study, it is a symbol of the final frontier of science, the place where knowledge pauses and mystery begins. Carl Gustav Jung once said that human beings are always drawn to what lies deep, to what exists beyond the light of consciousness. Within each person, there is also such a dark region, not a frightening place, but one that holds hidden parts, memories, emotions, and images we do not fully understand. And when we look at a black hole in a quiet way, we are also looking at a symbol of inner depth. A black hole does not shine, yet it is surrounded by light. The darkness at its center is not an empty void, but a place where mass is gathered so densely that nothing can escape. The light circling around it is like thoughts and emotions circling the deepest part of the human soul. We do not see it completely, but we feel its presence. Jung believed that there are parts of a person that cannot be understood by reason alone. There are emotions that come without us knowing why. There are dreams filled with strange and deep images. These things are like the dark regions of the universe, unclear yet full of meaning. Through the journey of discovering the fascinating truths about black holes, we begin to realize that the more we understand, the more we see how much we still do not know. Each answer opens new questions. Each discovery brings us closer to the edge of what cannot yet be explained. And this is what makes the journey beautiful, because it never truly ends. Perhaps that is why black holes have become one of the deepest mysteries of the universe. Not because they are completely unfamiliar, but because they lie at the boundary of all understanding, a place where science still quietly observes, still listens, still slowly moves closer, yet where so much remains beyond reach. In the quiet night, as you lie listening to these stories, you may begin to feel that the journey of exploring the universe is much like the journey inward. Both are vast. Both hold regions of light and regions of darkness, and both cannot be fully understood all at once. There are things in life that are clear, but there are also things that are deep that cannot be explained right away. Emotions that come and go, thoughts that quietly drift, moments when we feel we are standing between what is known and what is unknown. And in those moments, there is no need to hurry toward answers. It is enough to simply be there in the stillness. Just as scientists stand before a black hole and patiently observe from afar, a person can learn to stand quietly before the deep parts within. There is no need to understand everything, no need to explain it all, only to recognize that some things exist and that they are part of who we are. The night grows deeper. The thoughts of the long day begin to settle, no longer as clear as before. They are like distant stars fading into the darkness, not disappearing completely, but no longer asking for attention. Your body is relaxing. Your shoulders soften. Your breathing slows. Your heartbeat becomes steady. The mind begins to calm, as if everything is slowly drifting into a quiet place. Imagine yourself floating in a vast space. There is nothing to hurry, nothing to do, only stillness surrounding you. Somewhere far away, black holes continue to exist, silent and deep like doorways to the greatest questions of science. But you do not need to walk through those doors. It is enough to know that they are there as part of the vast universe. And in the same way, within your mind, there are also deep places. Places that do not need light. Places where you can rest. Places where thoughts can be set down without needing explanation. The images of today begin to fade. Sounds grow distant. Emotions soften. Everything becomes lighter, as if dissolving into a gentle space. You do not need to try to sleep. You do not need to let go of anything. Just allow your body to grow a little heavier. Allow your breath to become a little more even. Allow your mind to drift into the stillness. A black hole is the final frontier of science, where light stops, where understanding pauses, where mystery begins. And sleep is also a gentle frontier between day and night, between thought and quiet, between consciousness and deep dreams. As you pass that frontier without effort, without hurry, you slowly enter a soft and safe darkness, a place without noise, without questions, only peace. And in that peace, sleep comes gentle and deep, as if you are being held within a vast, warm and tender space. And as sleep slowly embraces you, everything unfinished from today can step quietly aside. Thoughts not yet completed, emotions still in motion, all can rest. Just as the universe does not need to explain all its mysteries in a single moment, you do not need to understand everything right now. Let your mind drift gently, as if floating in deep space. No beginning, no ending. Only a soft feeling spreading, your breath steady like slow waves. Your body warm and heavy, as if supported by a gentle, invisible space. And within that space, you can rest. No more thinking, no more effort. Just relax and drift deeper into the stillness, as if you are leaving behind the light of the long day, entering a very soft, very deep darkness where everything becomes peaceful, where nothing disturbs you, where there are no more questions, only sleep opening slowly, gently, and full of calm. And so our journey through the stories of black holes is also slowly coming to a close. From collapsing stars to the bending of space, to the deep mysteries of time, to the questions science still quietly seeks to answer. All of it has taken us on a very long, very deep journey, not only through the universe, but through the mind of each person. Perhaps as you listened in the quiet night, you felt that black holes are not only distant objects in space, they are like symbols, images of depth, reminders that, in this world, there are still many things humanity cannot fully understand. And just the same within each of us, there are deep places, emotions, memories, thoughts that we may only feel without needing to explain. Carl Jung believed that the most important journey is not about going farther, but about going deeper, deeper into oneself, deeper into what we feel. And sometimes, the quietest moments are when we come closest to the truest part of who we are. Night is a very special time, when sounds grow quiet, when the light softens, when the outside world becomes still. And it is also the time when the mind can let go, no longer needing to think so much, no longer needing to worry about what must be done, simply resting. You may feel your body slowing now, your breath more even, your shoulders more relaxed, thoughts no longer as clear as before. They are like thin clouds drifting far across the night sky. Stories of black holes can remind us of something very gentle. The universe is vast, deep, and full of mystery. But that vastness also brings peace, because it reminds us that we do not need to understand everything. We do not need to control everything. Some things only need to be felt and then allowed to pass, like stars that are born and then quietly fade, like galaxies slowly turning in the darkness. Everything has its own rhythm, and sleep is the same. It does not come because we try. It comes when we soften. If you are still thinking about something right now, just let it drift by. No need to push it away. No need to hold on to it. Just let it slowly move into the distance like stars fading far into space. Your body is here, safe, resting. There is nothing more you need to do, nothing left to finish. Today has ended, and you deserve to rest. Let your mind drift slowly into the quiet, as if you are floating in a vast space. No noise, no pressure, only a gentle feeling surrounding you. You can feel your breath, slow and steady, light and deep. Each breath out carries away what remains of the day. Each breath in brings warmth and peace. And little by little, you can let your body grow heavier. Let your eyelids soften. Let your thoughts drift farther away. You do not need to try to sleep. Just allow sleep to find you. If you have stayed with this story until now, know that you have given yourself a very gentle time to rest. A time for the mind to slow, for emotions to settle, for the body to relax. Each night we have the chance to return to that stillness. A place very deep, very soft, where nothing disturbs, where everything is gentle. And before you drift fully into sleep, I want to say one small warm thing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving yourself a quiet moment to rest with these stories. If content like this helps you feel more relaxed, sleep more easily, and find a little peace before drifting off, you can subscribe to the Stories for Sleep channel. Subscribing is a gentle way to continue walking alongside these quiet stories each night. And it also helps the channel continue creating more content to help you rest better. You do not need to do that now if you are already sleepy. Everything can wait until tomorrow. But if you remember, a small tap to subscribe is a way to return to these gentle stories on the nights to come. And for now, let everything settle. Let your body rest completely. Let your mind drift softly into the quiet. Wishing you a very deep, very gentle, and very peaceful sleep. Good night.